Chapter 192. After Su Xiaoling left, Baiya needed to adjust her state. She raised a cup of tea and stood by the window, looking at the passers-by outside. Some of them were full of smiles and full of vigor, some of them were pale and distressed, and some of them hid all their emotions and became indifferent. All kinds of expressions, moods, and states. Perhaps, this was life. Everyone was lucky to be born into the world. God gave them this opportunity to experience life. In life, there were ups and downs. Happy, sad, worried, and leisurely. Those who were not satisfied would feel happy when they ate a meat bun. Those who were not easily satisfied, even if they had the Manchu Han imperial feast, would think that there was a dish missing and become unhappy. She should have no desires, so that she would not be tired. Willing you have to give up to get. She missed the scenery of Guilingqing. Perhaps, she could see another scenery that was not bad. She should really give up. Her phone rang. She saw that it was Guilingqing, so she answered it calmly. Baiya, do you think it's easier to get things done with the chief or with your boyfriend? Guilingqing asked in a deep voice. Baiya was a little absent-minded. Because of his words, she almost lost her mind and influenced her decision. She was silent for a while. It's important to know one's own limits. I don't live in the same world as you, Chief. Then why did you call me? Guilingqing hung up the phone unhappily. Baiya, it was good that he took the initiative to hang up the phone. Otherwise, what she said next might not be pleasant to hear. Baiya put her phone in her bag, walked to Mu Xiaoxing's office, knocked on the door, and pushed it in. Standing in front of the whiteboard, Mu Xiaoxing was very anxious. When he saw Baiya come in, it was as if he had seen his savior. Come, help me analyze who killed Tony. Who could it be? Deputy Chief Su asked me to solve the case in 3 days. How is that possible? Baiya glanced at the whiteboard. Is Su Xiaoling a suspect? There is a motive. She was infected with syphilis at Tony's place, so she asked Tony to go. She also said that she wanted to kill Tony, but it was not worth it, so she let Tony go. What time did she let Tony go? What time did Tony die? Who else did Tony see in between? Baiya asked. The forensics department hasn't gotten the information yet. Do you know Chen Jing's apartment? Su Xiaoling rented a hotel apartment there, which was convenient for dating. Tony went there at 10 o'clock in the evening. Strangely, he did not see the video of Tony coming out of Su Xiaoling's room. Then, at 5 o'clock the next morning, a worker working in a public toilet found his body. Mu Xiaoxing was puzzled. Get the police to check Su Xiaoling's room and see if there's any blood on the floor. Then ask Su Xiaoling if she saw Tony leave the room. Also, don't stay in your office. You should go to the police station. They will get the information from the forensics department as soon as possible and give you the details. I'll go to the police station later. The forensics department should have the results. Mu Xiaoxing put down his pen. I'll go to the police station later. The forensics department should have the results. Mu Xiaoxing put down his pen. Well, Xiaoxing, for example, I want to test DNA or extract fingerprints for comparison. Do you have any connections that can help? Baiya asked. If I had any connections, would I still be waiting for the forensics department's results? I asked them to give me the results within an hour, not so long, Mu Xiaoxing said irritably. Baiya thought about it and agreed. After all, this was a series of procedures. Unless, she thought of Guilingqing again. An idea flashed through Baiya's mind. She went to look for Lu Shuang. Lu Shuang was playing games. When he saw Baiya coming over, he looked at the computer. Are you off work? Wait for me. I'll be playing soon. Okay. Baiya sat on the sofa. Her phone rang. It was Guilingqing. She hesitated for a while and answered, but she didn't say anything. Guilingqing didn't say anything either. Baiya waited for a while. If there's nothing else, I'm hanging up. I've squeezed out some time tonight. Do you want to continue with the lunch? You still owe me a meal, Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice. Baiya looked at Lu Shuang. Did you find out where Lu Shuang lives if not in the military? Yes. I know. What's wrong? I'll cook a few dishes, Baiya invited. Okay. I'll be there at around 7. Baiya hung up. Lu Shuang was already standing in front of her. He smiled slyly. Who are you inviting to my place for dinner? Your new boyfriend. Gu Lingqing, don't go away this time. Baiya stood up and held Lu Shuang's arm. Let's go. We'll report to the police station first. I'll say that I was raped. I'll provide a condom and let the police go through the normal procedures. They should be able to find the culprit soon. Lu Shuang was completely stunned. You're involved with Gu Lingqing again. Also, if you report to the police, it will affect your reputation. It's not good. Forget it. I'll just take it that I was bitten by a dog. Anyway, it's not the first time I was bitten by a dog. It's fine as long as I'm not sick. I don't care about my reputation. I can't let the culprit get away with it. Forget it, when the time comes, you will go to jail for slandering me. Forget it, it's better to avoid trouble. Forget it, I won't say anything, it won't affect my marriage. If this matter gets blown up, I will become a laughing stock in the military, and my parents will also be implicated. Forget it, forget it. Forget it. Tell me, what's going on between you and Gu Lingqing? Lu Shuang asked worriedly. There's nothing going on between me and him. I owe him a favor. I'll treat him to a meal and we'll be even, Baiya said calmly. You have to think carefully. Gu Lingqing's family won't accept you. You finally have a stable life. If you lose your life in a relationship, it's not worth it, Lu Shuang reminded her. I know what I'm doing. Don't worry, Baiya said with a smile. She went to buy pork ribs, winter gourd, sword beans, shredded meat, tomatoes, eggs, green peppers, and beef. She made beef ribs with green peppers, eggs with tomatoes, shredded meat, and winter gourd and pork ribs soup. Gu Lingqing came on time. He brought roses and red wine. He took off his military uniform and changed into a black suit. His posture was straight. When Lu Shuang saw Gu Lingqing, he was still a little scared. He stood up and greeted respectfully, Chief. Gu Lingqing nodded and passed the roses to Baiya. He said in a deep voice, after dinner, accompany me to a place. After that, you can tell me your final decision. No matter what your decision is, I'll respect it. Baiya paused. Chapter 193. Baiya had a lot on her mind as she ate. She peeked at Gu Lingqing. He was well-mannered. He ate slowly and looked at Baiya. His eyes met hers. Baiya felt a little guilty, and her eyes flickered away. He picked up a piece of pork rib and put it in Baiya's bowl. You should eat more. You're too skinny. It won't be easy for you to get pregnant if you're so skinny, Gu Lingqing said seriously. Baiya blushed. Get pregnant? What was he thinking? Lu Shuang looked at Gu Lingqing suspiciously. Then, he looked at Baiya and then at Gu Lingqing. He was still looking at Baiya. There was only Baiya in his eyes. She lost her memory but she could find it again. Was that love? Bureau Chief, do you like Little White? Lu Shuang was straightforward and asked directly. Baiya was nervous. She held her chopsticks and lowered her head, pretending that she didn't care about the answer. Just when she thought that he wouldn't answer, he answered, Baiya's hands were trembling. Lu Shuang held Baiya's hands and looked at Gu Lingqing. What if your parents object? Your family is powerful, but we, Baiya, have nothing. With my current status, I can marry freely. I won't be restricted by anyone, Gu Lingqing promised. Lu Shuang smiled and looked at Baiya. He realized that Bai Ya's face was dark. She couldn't see any joy. Then, when are you going to marry Bai Ya? You lost your memory but Bai Ya didn't. You guys have talked about it before. You have to be responsible for Xiao Bai, Lu Shuang pressed. Cool girl, Bai Ya interrupted Lu Shuang. I don't need anyone to be responsible. Seeing that Bai Ya was angry, Lu Shuang immediately shut up. I'll take responsibility. Gu Lingqing promised Bai Ya. Bai Ya smiled faintly, but there was a mystery in his eyes that he couldn't see through. Does Chief Gu think that I can't support myself or that I can't find a boyfriend? I don't need you to be responsible for me. I can still live a good life. I can also find a man who likes me. Weakling, I am not a weakling. Gu Lingqing's eyes darkened, and his tone was very unpleasant. Who else do you want to look for? Seeing that Gu Lingqing was about to get angry, Lu Shuang hurriedly said, Bai Ya didn't mean that she would find a boyfriend even if leader Gu didn't want her. Did I say that I don't want you anymore? Gu Lingqing stared at Bai Ya. I don't need it, Bai Ya replied. You just don't want me anymore, right? Gu Lingqing slammed his chopsticks on the table and quickly left Lu Shuang. Lu Shuang looked at Gu Lingqing, then looked at Bai Ya. He became anxious and said to Bai Ya, what are you doing? Wasn't the atmosphere quite good just now? Although Gu Lingqing is a harsh and resolute person, he is a man of his word. If he says that he will be responsible for you, he will definitely be responsible for you. Xiao Bai, I think you're wrong. Cool girl, I know what I'm doing, Bai Ya said rationally. You'll push him far away like this. Lu Shuang was anxious. He rushed to the window and saw Gu Lingqing smoking under the street lamp. Xiao Bai, she hasn't left yet. It's not too late if you chase after her. If a person can be pushed far away because of a push, do you think that he will last long? Forget it. I'll wash the dishes. Bai Ya took the dishes to the kitchen. Her phone rang. She saw it was Mu Xiaosheng and answered the phone. What's wrong? Have you finished dinner? Mu Xiaosheng asked. Yes, I'm washing the dishes now. What's wrong? Bai Ya was puzzled. Then let's have supper together. There's crayfish in the market now. I'll treat you to some. Hee hee, Mu Xiaosheng invited enthusiastically. Tell me, what's the matter? You don't have to beat around the bush with me. Bai Ya was a little impatient. Mu Xiaosheng frowned and said softly, my case is blocked by someone. That person needs to invite you out through me. Who? Bai Ya was puzzled. Your ex-husband, Mu Xiaosheng said apologetically. Bai Ya paused. Su Jiran took Mu Xiaosheng's phone and said, Xiao Ya. Threats, inducements, coercion. After so many years, you still haven't changed at all. Bai Ya curled up the corner of her mouth and said sarcastically. I want to see you, but I'm afraid you won't come out. In a few days, I may have good news to tell you, Su Jiran said softly. If I don't come out, will you block Mu Xiaosheng? Bai Ya asked coldly. Blocking is not my purpose. I just want to see you. Then don't block him. It's too late today. Tomorrow, I'll treat you to lunch tomorrow. Bai Ya said straightforwardly. Based on her understanding of Su Jiran, he was a person who would not give up until he achieved his goal. She had to see him eventually. However, she was a little tired and upset today. On the surface, nothing seemed to happen, but in fact, her heart was heavy, as if something was pressing on it. Okay, see you tomorrow. I'll pick you up at the research institute. Good night, Su Jiran said softly. Bai Ya hung up the phone, put the bowl in the cupboard, and turned around. Lu Shuang stood at the door and looked at her worriedly. Let me tell you my opinion. Su Jiran is a prodigal son who has turned back. In the 3 years when you were away, he was really clean and self-disciplined. He didn't get involved with anything and waited for you to come back. As for Gu Lingqing, he is unattainable and not easy to talk to. He is relatively dull. The key is that he lost his memory. If he didn't lose his memory, maybe it would be a good choice. After all, now his parents can't control him. Baya lowered her eyes. She remembered what Ling Qiuzuan said about Su Jiran. Just in time, she wanted to ask him in detail tomorrow. Let nature take its course. Plans can't keep up with changes. In this world, we can't do whatever we want. We can take one step at a time and see the scenery. It's good to be carefree. Baya smiled. Xiaoya, I really feel that you're different from before. You used to be stubborn, but now you look so open-minded and fairy-like, Lu Shuang said in admiration. I'm also stubborn now. But even if I know it's a stubborn problem, because my cognition is there, I can't convince myself not to do it, so I just don't struggle. Baya shrugged. I'm leaving. If I don't leave now, it'll be late. Lu Shuang hugged Baya. Move in with me. Don't you think it's expensive to stay in a hotel alone? Baya tapped Lu Shuang's nose. You're in the military 6 days a week. I'll be lonely here. There are many people in the hotel, and it's close to my workplace. With my current salary, it's not a problem for me to stay in a hotel. All right then, I'll share a bed with you during the holidays. Okay. Baya smiled. She walked out of the staircase. Suddenly, her arm was held. Gu Lingqing was pulling her away. She didn't expect Gu Lingqing to still be here. What? Baya didn't understand. Chapter 194. Baya did not know where he was taking her. Anyway, it was impossible for Gu Lingqing to do anything to her. How long will it take? Baya looked at the dark night outside the window and asked. About an hour and a half, Gu Lingqing replied. Call me when we arrive. She leaned back on the chair and closed her eyes. Gu Lingqing took off his suit and put it on her. Baya was not asleep. She could smell the faint smell of tobacco on his clothes. Was he smoking just now? She did not like the smell of tobacco. She opened her eyes and looked at him. 3 years had passed. Gu Lingqing had become more mature. He was introverted and did not like to talk. However, he still gave people a reassuring feeling. This was probably the characteristic of a soldier. Don't smoke in the future. It's not good for your health, Baya said gently. I didn't like to smoke in the past. I often had insomnia in the past 3 years. My condition is not good. The pressure from work is also great. I smoke a little too much. Now, I'm used to smoking. You have to supervise me in the future, Gu Lingqing said seriously. Baya turned around and faced the window. She did not speak. The window reflected her and Gu Lingqing's shadows. Chief, can I do a psychological test for you? Baya asked gently. Okay. Go ahead. If you're watching a horror movie, where do you think the ghost will appear? 1. The elevator, 2. The toilet, 3. Under the table, and 4. The locker. Baya looked at Gu Lingqing. I never watch horror movies. I don't believe in ghosts in this world, Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice. Baya, let's change the question. You're walking on the road one day and you see a person almost getting hit. You want the person to be a woman, a man, a child, and an elderly. Choose. Baya was a little angry. He did not cooperate at all. What does it have to do with me whether the person is hit or not? Gu Lingqing was confused. Baya did not want to talk to him anymore. She turned her face away. Gu Lingqing frowned. If I had to choose, it would be a man. Baya understood and nodded. I understand. What do you know? Can you let me know the result? Gu Lingqing asked. The person who chooses the second option is resolute, courageous, resolute, straightforward, and rational. However, they are afraid of trouble and are not easily attracted by the temptations of the outside world. They also have their own goals and thoughts, and are more level-headed. They are, the best choice for a partner. Baiye did not want to say the last sentence. Gu Lingqing raised the corner of her lips. Her smile was very faint, so it was not easy to notice. Do you know why I chose B? Old people are old. Even if they were almost hit, it would cause their blood pressure to rise, and their hearts would not be able to bear it. The child was still too young and easily frightened, causing trauma. Women were too troublesome. Men are agile. As long as they dodge it, this matter is basically over. Gu Lingqing analyzed. I think you have a prejudice against women. What's troublesome about women? Baiye asked. When a woman is almost hit, she will definitely call her boyfriend to complain. She might even find the driver to argue with. Gu Lingqing, you haven't found a girlfriend for so many years because you are afraid of trouble, right? Baiye interrupted him. If it were me, do you think I would call you and cry, or would I argue with the driver? So I know why I liked you in the past, Gu Lingqing said directly, looking at Baiye with a burning gaze. Baiye's heart was trembling, especially his gaze. It made her feel very uncomfortable. Drive, look ahead. Gu Lingqing replied. Baiye lowered her eyes. What was strange about women was that even though they knew that there was another woman in the other party's heart, they would still continue to test and test, wanting to prove that they were in the other party's heart. Because of this little bit of hope, they would soften and surrender. They would think that they could replace that woman's position. But the truth was, in this world, the most difficult thing to control was the human heart. If it was too close, people would naturally reject it. If it was too far, people would naturally ignore it. It was just right. However, no one would be able to grasp the perfect distance. Baiye felt sad, and her eyes were also trembling. She didn't want to cry in front of Gu Lingqing, so she forced herself not to think too much. Sometimes, it would be painful to see too clearly. Foolishness, ignorance, and self-righteousness were the happiest. For example, children who thought little, couldn't think clearly, and were forgetful. Unknowingly, they arrived at Gu Lingqing's military area. When the soldiers saw that it was Gu Lingqing's car, they all saluted. However, when it came to the second checkpoint, someone would come to check. This was the strict requirement that Gu Lingqing had for his own military area. After the check, the soldiers saluted again. Baiye came to his military area more than 3 years ago. Compared to the past, there was a lot of change, and a few more buildings were built. However, Gu Lingqing still lived in the same place as before. She followed him and went to the basement. Baiye thought of the secret room that Su Shaoling mentioned. Although she didn't show it at that time, she felt uncomfortable in her heart. The closer she got to that door, the more she resisted getting closer. Why did you bring me here? Baiye stopped. Gu Lingqing didn't force her and pushed the door of the secret room open. Baiye walked in subconsciously, and what she saw was her photo. She looked at Gu Lingqing in surprise. She was so nervous that her hands were trembling. Gu Lingqing held her hand and walked in. The secret room was full of her photos. Some of them were taken from her QQ space that she hadn't used for a long time, and some were taken by him in secret. I hung these photos in the afternoon, Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice and took a red jewelry box from the table. Baiye glanced at the jewelry box and looked at Gu Lingqing. He looked at her deeply, as serious as ever, but there was a heart-wrenching pain in his eyes. 3 years ago, I woke up from the operating room bed. My mind was on fire, and I went back to a mission a long time ago. In this mission, all the people I brought with me died. Only one spy survived, and my girlfriend, Zhou Hailan, died at the same time. My memory didn't include you at all. From that day onwards, I kept dreaming of a girl crying. She kept shouting, Gu Lingqing, where are you? I thought that girl was Zhou Hailan. I don't have any impression of you. I'm sorry, I forgot about you, Gu Lingqing explained. Baiye turned her face away. The memory of the past was too painful. When she recalled it, her face was already covered in tears. It wasn't until I met you 3 years ago that I felt strangely familiar with you. I went to ask about you, and it seemed like someone had purposely erased part of your past. I also went to your school to visit you many times, and as time went by, I felt more and more like the girl who was crying and looking for me was you. Bye. Chapter 195. Women had the softest heart. Quarreling with her boyfriend was not to break up, but to let him be what she wanted him to be. Getting angry with her boyfriend was not to break up, but to find out if he had her in his heart. She was the same. She didn't care if he was rich, powerful, or handsome. Even if he didn't have money or a house, she was willing to be with him. She just hoped that he had her in his heart, so that she wouldn't feel aggrieved no matter what sacrifice she had to make. She was afraid that he didn't have her in his heart. Then, she would really feel aggrieved. Baya wanted to give herself a chance, one last chance. It could be considered as doing her best for her last love. She pointed at his heart with her index finger. Do you have me here? Yes. Gu Lingqing looked at her deeply and said firmly. Can you let me replace Zhou Heilan's position in your heart? Baya asked with reddened eyes. I'm already doing it, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Okay. I'll marry you. In the future, as long as you don't let me down, no matter how hard it is, I'll be with you. Baya made up her mind. Gu Lingqing knelt on one knee on the ground. We'll get our marriage certificate tomorrow. Military marriages couldn't be divorced. Once they got married, there was no medicine for regret. Baya hesitated for a moment, and she felt a chill on her ring finger. Gu Lingqing put it on her finger, held her hand, lowered his head, and kissed her forehead. You promised me, so don't say the word break up again. I definitely won't say it either. Okay. Baya replied chokingly, and her tears continued to flow. Gu Lingqing kissed her tears, and slowly moved down to her soft lips. Baya closed her eyes and kissed him back. Gu Lingqing's breathing became heavier, and her breathing became erratic. He carried her on a long table, and his large palm unbuttoned her jeans, took them off, and placed them on the chair. Baya could feel his solid presence. It was very deep and very hot. It was getting hotter and hotter. She collapsed weakly. Gu Lingqing wrapped his arms around her shoulders and supported all of her weight. He wasn't in a hurry and did a good job. Baya's gaze gradually became unfocused. She clutched his arm tightly. As she screamed, he kissed her lips, swallowed her voice, and kissed her crazily. Baya's thoughts drifted to another space, and she allowed him to kiss her. A minute later, he placed her on the table and gave himself over to his senses. Xiaoya, give me a child, Gu Lingqing said hoarsely. Baya slowly came back to her senses. Because of what had just happened, she looked at him with a sensuality and bewitchment that had yet to fade away. She couldn't have children while she was still on medication. She had to stop taking the medicine for at least 3 months before she could have a child. But once she stopped taking the medicine, would her insomnia be cured? While she was in a trance, he also arrived. His abdomen was tight, and his chocolate-like abs were full of explosive power. He wasn't in a hurry to come out, and he kissed her forehead gently. Stay at my place tonight. Baya replied. He draped his clothes over her. His clothes were very big, and she could wear them as a dress. He carried her to his room, placed her in the bathtub, and turned on the water to bathe her. Baya thought of a problem. I can't stay at your place tonight, my clothes are still at the hotel. Gu Lingqing took a shower. You don't have to worry about that, I'll get someone to bring your luggage over. After we get our marriage certificate tomorrow, I'll buy a house near your workplace as a wedding house. Do you want Mao Pei's house, or a renovated one? I'll buy it with you when I'm free. Baya's heart felt a little wet. Gu Lingqing was still as meticulous as ever, arranging everything in an orderly manner. Buy Mao Pei's house. What style do you like for the renovations? Baya asked seriously. Gu Lingqing was done bathing, and he also finished washing up. He wrapped a towel around himself and kissed Baya's forehead. As long as you like it. Don't soak for too long, or you'll catch a cold. I'll get someone to prepare a pillow. Baya replied, and watched as Gu Lingqing left. She looked at the ring on her finger. It was 3 carats, very bright, and very shiny, so bright that her eyes hurt a little. In the end, she still married Gu Lingqing. She lowered her head and kissed the ring. She got up from the bathtub and wrapped a towel around herself. Gu Lingqing didn't have her toiletries here, so she wanted to rinse her mouth. Gu Lingqing walked in. He changed into his usual pajamas, and gave her new toiletries and a black undershirt. Baya took it. You can use these toiletries and leave them with me. I'll still come often in the future. The undershirt is mine. Wash it and wear it to sleep, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Okay. After Baya brushed her teeth and washed her face, she sniffed the clothes that Gu Lingqing gave her. The clothes had a fragrant smell. She changed and went out of the bathroom. Gu Lingqing laid the pillow and quilt. You sleep inside? Gu Lingqing asked. She was used to sleeping alone, but a long time ago, when she slept with Gu Lingqing, she did sleep inside. Yes. Baya went to bed first. She looked at the time. It was almost 12 o'clock. She put her phone under the pillow. Gu Lingqing took her phone away, put it on the bedside table, and explained, phones have radiation. Baya responded, with her back facing him. Gu Lingqing turned off the light. She didn't take the medicine and stared at the air in a daze. Behind her, Gu Lingqing breathed evenly. She forced herself to close her eyes, but she still couldn't sleep. She turned around and faced him. He closed his eyes, and his breathing was very light. Even when he slept, he was so elegant and noble, like a prince. Gu Lingqing suddenly opened his eyes. Baya was caught red-handed and was shocked. Can't sleep? Gu Lingqing asked. His voice was hoarse, with the intoxication of the night. Just sleep, don't worry about me. I can't sleep either. Let's do something else. Gu Lingqing invited. Didn't we do it before? I only did it with you once a night before. Gu Lingqing was very curious. Not really. That was different. It was very difficult for me to see you at that time. It was inevitable that I would be aroused and want to separate, so I didn't control myself. Besides, you were in your 20s at that time. I heard you say that I was your first woman, Baya said softly. Now, I'm also the only one, Gu Lingqing said with certainty. Baya's heart palpitated. She turned over and covered his body. Looking at his resolute face, she was the first to blush. Then, let's do something. Chapter 196. Half an hour later, Baya and Gu Lingqing fell asleep. They didn't even take a shower. It was indeed easier to fall asleep after exercising. Early in the morning, Baya heard birds chirping. When she opened her eyes, it was dawn. She looked to the side. Gu Lingqing wasn't there anymore. She picked up the phone on the bedside table and looked at it. It was only 5:30. Gu Lingqing woke up early. She saw her suitcase next to the coffee table. She didn't even know when he put the suitcase in the room. She got out of bed and opened the suitcase. Everything was there. She changed her clothes and walked into the bathroom. There was a new set of cosmetics from Lanmer on the sink. She remembered that a long time ago, the first set of cosmetics he gave her was from this brand. It seemed that he loved this international brand. Baya smiled slightly. After washing up, she was about to wash her clothes when she realized that the clothes she changed out of yesterday were gone. She went out. Morning, the orderly greeted her respectfully. Baya was too embarrassed to ask about her clothes. Where's Gu Lingqing? Baya asked. The chief should be at the training ground now. He'll be back at 6. If you're hungry, you can have breakfast first, the orderly said with a smile. Madam? The word was unfamiliar, but now it made her feel happy. I'll go out and look for him. As soon as Baya stepped out of the door, she saw Gu Lingqing walking over, followed by Lieutenant Colonel Song and 2 colonels. Lieutenant Colonel Song was reporting something. Gu Lingqing listened expressionlessly and nodded from time to time. She saw that he was busy with work, so she didn't disturb him. She turned around and walked into the room. Gu Lingqing had already seen her, but he didn't call out to her. Instead, he ordered Lieutenant Colonel Song, cancel the meeting at 8 in the morning. Also, find a good wedding company and arrange a romantic wedding. I want to get married. Huh? The chief is getting married? Lieutenant Colonel Song was surprised. Bastard, the chief is already 32 years old. Can't he get married? The colonel scolded. Yes, I'll do it in a moment. Lieutenant Colonel Song nodded. All of you are dismissed. Gu Lingqing ordered and walked into the room. Baya was not in the living room. Where's madam? Gu Lingqing asked the attendant. He just returned to his room, the orderly reported. Let's prepare breakfast. While saying that, Gu Lingqing pushed the door open and went inside. Baya was sitting on the sofa playing with her phone. When she saw him, she stood up. You guys finished talking so quickly. Gu Lingqing held her waist. You don't have to hide from me anymore. Baya smiled. The harem is not allowed to interfere with politics. It's better to stay away from it. What you're talking about is military secrets. If anything goes wrong, I'll be the main suspect. It's safest not to know. That makes sense. There will be a document for you later. Your research institute has already approved it, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Baya was confused. What document is for me? What did the research institute approve? Xiong Jiqing and Xiong Chang'an's incident made me realize that we need to strengthen the psychological construction of soldiers. You're the expert in this area. Directly hire the special forces for 3 months. The specific plan will be discussed in the meeting in the afternoon. Why didn't I know about this? The document is direct. If you go to your research institute in the morning, you should be able to get it from Mu Shaosheng. Baya, why did she feel that he acted first and reported later? If I don't accept your proposal, will this document still be valid? Baya asked suspiciously. Whether you accept my proposal or not, this document will be sent to you, Gu Lingqing said domineeringly. Baya stared at him. In the past, were you pursuing Zhou Hailan or was it Zhou Hailan who pursued you? You're too autocratic. You're the only girl that I've ever pursued, Gu Lingqing explained. Baya slightly raised the corner of her mouth. This satisfied her vanity as a woman. Gu Lingqing saw her smile and also raised a smile. Baya, there's one thing I want to tell you in advance. In a military marriage, the non-soldier party has to file for divorce, unless I have made a serious mistake. I understand. She knew it. She had thought about it yesterday. You and I will act first and report later. If my parents' people make things difficult for you, you don't have to pay attention to it. You're living with me, not with them. In fact, I can't see them for a while in a month now, so you don't have to worry about it. Baya nodded. She had experienced his style of acting first and reporting later. The current Baya was no longer the Baya of the past. She was more ruthless, rational, and cold than the past Baya. The last one, the wedding banquet. Do you want it to be a big one or just a gathering of close relatives? Gu Lingqing asked. Gu Lingqing asked her because he respected her opinion. However, he was the chief, so it would be inappropriate if the wedding was not a big one. I'll listen to you, I don't mind. Gu Lingqing smiled. Let's have breakfast first, then we'll go to the Civil Affairs Bureau. Asterisk on the way to the Civil Affairs Bureau. Baya looked out of the window. She felt uneasy, as if everything was just a dream. She was going to be Gu Lingqing's wife soon. She thought about it a lot. Especially about her and Gu Lingqing's child. If she told Gu Lingqing, would he be able to find it? Or was the child already dead, and it was just an empty celebration? If she told Gu Lingqing about the child, it would definitely involve the rape incident 6 years ago. She was conflicted. Gu Lingqing's phone rang. Baiya came back to her senses and looked at Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing saw the caller ID and frowned slightly. He picked up the phone. Mom, what's up? I heard that you're getting married. Who are you going to marry? Song Shiyu asked in surprise. You're very well informed. You should know Baiya, right? Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice. He looked ahead with a deep gaze. His face was expressionless, but there was a hint of coldness and harshness. Why are you marrying her? How long have you known each other? Song Shiyu was shocked. I've known her for a long time. You should know this very well, Gu Lingqing said with certainty. His eyes were full of sarcasm. Baiya told you? Song Shiyu was shocked, and there was a hint of panic in her shock. I just recovered some of my memories. Baiya didn't say anything. Alright, I'm busy now. I'll contact you later. Since I'm marrying her, I'll definitely bring her back to visit. We don't accept it, Song Shiyu said with certainty. It's up to you whether you accept it or not. I'm just informing you. Gu Lingqing didn't give Song Shiyu any chance to speak and hung up the phone. Baiya's phone rang. She saw that it was Song Shiyu's call and picked it up. Baiya, what are you doing? You promised to leave Lingqing, Song Shiyu asked angrily. I'm sorry, I regret it. Chapter 197. Have you forgotten your lesson? Song Shiyu warned. Previously, Song Shiyu and Gu Tianheng had kidnapped her and threatened Gu Lingqing to marry Su Shaoling. They had even chopped off her fingers. Her heart ached when she thought about it. Baiya became colder and colder. She pursed her lips and said, I've already written this down. This incident refers to the time when you kidnapped me 3 years ago. The reason why I was kidnapped was related to Governor Cheng. I used my real name for all the people who appeared. I put this information in a black box in the United States for my friend's safekeeping. With my current reputation in the industry, my autobiography will definitely be believed by many professionals abroad. Even if it's fake, many people will make a fuss about it. Moreover, it's true and there's evidence to back it up. Are you crazy? Do you know how many people will suffer if you expose this? It might shake the foundation, Song Shiyu said anxiously. It doesn't depend on me. It depends on whether you're crazy or not. As long as it doesn't endanger my interests and life, I hope to live in peace. But if even my life is threatened, I'm sorry, but I don't have the time and energy to care about others. I only know who killed me. Baiya said coldly. There was a sharp light in her eyes. Does Gu Lingqing know that you're so cunning? Song Shiyu asked with a pale face. Many people often forget or hide what they've done when they're questioning others. Speaking of cunning and cunning, Mrs. Song, have you ever reflected on yourself? Baiya said calmly. What a glib tongue. I won't agree to let you marry into the Gu family, Song Shiyu said angrily. Baiya smiled. It doesn't matter whether you agree or not. It won't change the result. You treat me well and treat me as your daughter-in-law. I'll be filial to you and treat you as my mother. Forget it. I don't want a daughter-in-law like you, Song Shiyu said. Baiya understood. If there's nothing else, I'm hanging up. Baiya, you want to marry into the Gu family. Don't you think your attitude is wrong? If Lingqing marries you, I will be your husband's mother. Your attitude will put your husband in a difficult position. Song Shiyu lectured in the manner of an elder. You threatened me from the very beginning, telling me not to forget what happened 3 years ago. It's already polite of me to talk to you now. You just said that there is no such thing as a daughter-in-law like me. Since you don't want to acknowledge me, why should I acknowledge you? Also, it's not me who's making things difficult for Gu Lingqing, it's you. In addition, you are filled with disgust, disdain, and disdain towards me. This will not change because of my submissiveness. Instead, it will only become worse because of my compromise. If that happens, I will live in a shadow for the rest of my life. I've even let myself down. How can I let others down? I'm sorry, but I don't want you to struggle at death's door and bow and scrape. Baiya said coldly. 3 years ago, she learned the importance of power. Crying and pitiful to gain sympathy, but the dominant power was in the hands of others. Sometimes, when others wanted to target you, they wouldn't stop just because you were miserable. Then, she would protect herself. 3 years ago, Baiya was so weak that she couldn't do anything even if she was killed by Song Shiyu and Gu Tianheng. Now, she wouldn't be as cowardly as she was 3 years ago. You insist on marrying my son, right? Song Shiyu was also angry. What do you think? Baiya just asked back. 3 years ago, I thought you were a good girl. It seems that I misjudged you. If I knew you were such a person, I wouldn't have been merciful, Song Shiyu said angrily. It doesn't matter to me at all. I don't care. That's all right. I'm hanging up. Baiya hung up the phone before Song Shiyu said anything. Although she said that she didn't care, she still cared about it. After all, that person was Gu Lingqing's mother, the mother of the man that she loved. Baiya looked at Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing looked forward expressionlessly. I'm sorry, I don't get along well with your mother. Gu Lingqing's eyes were deep. Part of Baiya's past information was erased. His parents tried everything to stop him from investigating the past. He guessed what his parents had done. 3 years ago, my parents kidnapped you and used you to force me to marry Su Shaoling, right? Gu Lingqing asked coldly. Your parents thought that you should marry someone better. Maybe they did it out of love for you. Baiya said and looked out of the window. She didn't want to sow discord between Gu Lingqing and his parents. They chopped off your little finger, and I also chopped off my own little finger. They used self-mutilation to force my parents to compromise. In the end, I only got engaged to Su Shaoling, Gu Lingqing guessed. Baiya looked at Gu Lingqing. Back then, the main reason why Gu Tianheng forced Gu Lingqing to marry Su Shaoling was that Su Zheng had something on Gu Tianheng. In everyone's heart, they didn't want their parents to be bad. She kept this reason in her heart. It wasn't that she was noble, but she didn't want the man she loved to be sad. Everything is in the past now. Can we be considered to have seen the moon after the clouds have parted? Baiya said with a smile and changed the topic. Gu Lingqing held Baiya's hand and looked at her without saying a word. He was a man of few words, but there were thousands of words in his eyes. Unknowingly, they arrived at the entrance of the Civil Affairs Bureau. Before we get married, you can ask for anything, Gu Lingqing held her hand and said. I only have one request. Baiya thought about it carefully. Gu Lingqing looked at her and asked, what is it? If I ask for a divorce one day, I hope that you can agree. A military marriage can't be divorced, which means that the one who isn't a soldier can't ask for a divorce. However, you can ask for a divorce. Can you agree to it? Baiya looked at him and said. Gu Lingqing frowned and his heart tightened. His eyes darkened, as if he had fallen into a frozen lake and felt uncomfortable. You haven't gotten married yet and you're already thinking about a divorce? Everyone who is preparing to get married has never thought about a divorce. However, when it's time for a divorce, they don't think about remarrying. Because when they get married, most people think about the good of the other party. When they get divorced, most people think about the bad of the other party. I think it's better to be more rational before getting married. It'll help the stability of the marriage. What do you think? Baiya tried to persuade Gu Lingqing. I think you're too cold sometimes, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. She didn't think the word cold was a good word when it came from his mouth. Perhaps she was cold enough. People who had never experienced love and kinship were born to be so cold. Baiya's lips twitched in self-mockery. Why don't? Chapter 198. I've already noted this down. Don't mention it again in the future. Gu Lingqing used a commanding tone. Since she had decided to get married, she had to forget all the unhappy factors today. Baiya nodded and smiled. Let's go, dear Mr. Gu. Are you still Mr. Gu? Gu Lingqing was dissatisfied with this title. She was not willing to marry him after all. Then, my husband? Baiya asked tentatively. Gu Lingqing slightly raised the corner of his mouth. That's okay. Let's go. Gu Lingqing held her hand and walked to the Civil Affairs Bureau. The morning sun was not strong. It fell on the two of them, and their shadows folded together. Baiya realized that Gu Lingqing was actually nervous. His palms were sweaty, and his palms were sticky when holding hers. He walked in, looked around, and walked to the window. Hello, you're here to get married, Gu Lingqing said to the staff at the window. Makeup is not allowed. You have to pay $9.90. Is the girl pregnant? If not, you have to go through a routine gynecological examination. In addition, do you have a prenuptial agreement? Do you need to do a property appraisal? The staff was an impatient person and said a lot of things. If you're not pregnant, you don't need a prenuptial agreement or a property appraisal, Gu Lingqing said. The staff pushed up his black-rimmed glasses and looked at Gu Lingqing. Baiya didn't say anything. He handed the ID and the residence booklet to the staff. Gu Lingqing also handed over the ID. He could have handed over his military ID, but he didn't want to be too conspicuous, so he just handed over an ordinary ID and residence booklet. The staff thought that Gu Lingqing was quite handsome. She took a few more glances to see if he was a celebrity who came to get married. She had first-hand information. What's wrong? Gu Lingqing asked in confusion. Nothing. The staff lowered his head. She mainly wanted to check if she was registered as unmarried on the computer and if the number on the ID card was the same as the number on the household register. Baiya craned his neck to look at the photo on Gu Lingqing's ID card. Generally speaking, people's ID cards will be very ugly. Yours is not bad. Has it been processed? Baiya asked jokingly. Gu Lingqing cleared his throat and lowered his voice, be serious. Baiya, how was she not serious? It was just that Gu Lingqing was very serious. After getting married, she acted as if she was facing a great enemy. Her expression was serious, meticulous, and serious. You have to smile when taking photos, Baiya reminded. Before Gu Lingqing could say anything, the impatient staff reminded, don't show your teeth when taking photos. Baiya was amused by the staff and giggled. The staff rolled her eyes at Baiya. Go inside for the premarital checkup. Pay for the groom. Oh. Baiya walked inside. The words, premarital checkup, were written on the door frame. Gu Lingqing took out 10 yuan from his wallet and passed it to the staff. We have a 9999 package. Do you want it? The staff recommended. What's a 999 package? Gu Lingqing was confused. It was his first time getting married in his life. He did not know anything. The 999 package allows you to leave your fingerprint and bring it back as a souvenir. It's very meaningful, the staff explained. Okay. Gu Lingqing was easy to talk to. He took out 100 yuan from his wallet and passed it to the staff. The staff happily took the money and gave Gu Lingqing a change of 1 yuan. Gu Lingqing then put it into the convenient merit box. Are you a celebrity? The staff asked nosily. No, Gu Lingqing replied seriously. Oh, you'll definitely be popular if you become a celebrity. You're so good-looking, the staff exclaimed. Gu Lingqing, When Baya came out of the premarital checkup room, he saw Gu Lingqing sitting on the sofa and staring at the window without blinking. Baya followed his gaze and saw a man and a woman standing at the window. "What's wrong?" Baya asked. "They're here for a divorce." "Look, they're not smiling." "It means that divorce isn't a happy thing for them," Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice and looked at Baya. "Don't mention divorce to me again." "Baya, let's go in and take photos." Gu Lingqing dragged Baya to the photography room. The photography room was simple. There were 2 chairs opposite the camera. Baya and Gu Lingqing sat on them. "Get closer," the cameraman said. Baya leaned towards Gu Lingqing. "Closer," the cameraman said again. Baya leaned towards Gu Lingqing. "Closer." The cameraman was adjusting the distance between them. Gu Lingqing pressed Baya's head and leaned towards him. Okay. "Move your hands away," the cameraman said in a good mood. Baya burst into laughter. Gu Lingqing also raised a smile. It was one of the brightest smiles he had ever had in his life. "Alright, do you want to make hand masks?" "Go ahead and get your marriage certificate after you're done," the cameraman reminded them. Baya and Gu Lingqing went out. The staff at the window was waiting for them at the door and took them to make hand masks. The hand mask model was a finished one. It was in the shape of a pink heart and was made of composite plastic. There were roses on the side. The staff tore off a layer of tempered film on the surface of the model. "Just put your hands on it." Gu Lingqing and Baya put their hands on it together. "This needs to be dried in the dryer. It will take about 5 minutes. Wait here." The staff took the model out. "Are there so many things now?" Baya asked casually. Gu Lingqing thought of Baya's marriage. He felt a little unbalanced in his heart. It was an indescribable strange feeling. "Yes," Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice. "Oh." Baya understood. No wonder there were so many things. 5 minutes later, the staff came over and handed a red gift bag to Gu Lingqing. He said, "Model. Marriage certificate, household register. Your ID cards and a set of gifts from the Civil Affairs Bureau are all inside. When you go back, live a good life. The way a husband and wife get along is in their looks. As long as you don't cheat, gamble, or take drugs, there's nothing you can't do." "Thank you." Baya nodded. The staff glanced at Baya and left. Baya took out the marriage certificate. In the photo of the marriage certificate, she and Gu Lingqing were both smiling. They looked very happy. She remembered her previous marriage certificate. At that time, she had forced Su Jiran to marry her. Su Jiran had a look of disdain on his face as he glared at the camera angrily. On the other hand, she was unhappy and pursed her lips. Chapter 199. If marriage was destined to be unlucky from the beginning, one should never climb into the grave, because when he climbed out, he would definitely be covered in injuries and exhausted. She and Gu Lingqing had a good start, and she hoped that there would be a good ending. "One for you, one for me. Keep it safe." Baya happily put her ID card, household register, and marriage certificate into her bag. Gu Lingqing looked at her bright eyes and white teeth, and his heart softened a little. This woman, who was a stranger at the beginning, had now become his wife, a woman that he needed to protect and take care of for the rest of his life. As long as he thought that she had become his wife, the corner of his mouth slightly curled up. "Shouldn't we keep it together?" Baya smiled, took out her marriage certificate and put it in the gift bag. "Sorry to trouble you, husband." Gu Lingqing cleared his throat and replied seriously, "It's no trouble at all." He. Baya laughed happily. She still remembered the time when she first met him. She asked a lot of questions, and he also looked like he was now, answering them one by one seriously. Actually, Gu Lingqing hadn't changed, but she had changed a lot. Baya laughed and tears flowed out. Gu Lingqing frowned. What's wrong? Baya hugged Gu Lingqing and buried her face in his arms. Her voice was choked. The dream you had was right. I really looked for you. I looked for you for a long time. Gu Lingqing's eyes darkened, and he gently placed his hand on her back. Baya, I'm back. Baya wiped her tears. I've always wanted to find my past memories, but the more I want to find them, the more tired I feel. Now that I have you, I won't force my lost memories. The doctor also said that I might come back at any time, Gu Lingqing explained. I'm here. I'll try to help you with hypnosis. Gu Lingqing rubbed her face. There's a long way to go. There's no hurry. We still have a lot of urgent things to do first. All right. I'll send you to the research institute now. Take the documents and come to the military in the afternoon. I can ask Lu Shuang to cooperate with you. You two sisters must have endless things to talk about when you're together. Our wedding is already in preparation. I'll let you know when it's ready. Baya remembered that she still owed Su Jiran lunch. It was better to make things clear between her and Su Jiran. Besides, she and Gu Lingqing were already married. It was time for Su Jiran to give up. I can go by myself. I still have something to tell Mu Shaosheng. I will have lunch with them at noon and arrive at the military region at 2 p.m., Baya refused Gu Lingqing's kindness. Gu Lingqing remained silent and fixed his eyes on Baya. What's wrong? Baya asked guiltily. You should enjoy the service of your husband. I hope that you will accept it. If you refuse me, I will feel that there's a distance between us. It's a distance from here to the research institute. I'll send you there, Gu Lingqing confessed. All right then. She nodded. He took her to the research institute. Baya stared straight ahead, enjoying the peace and tranquility in her heart at this moment. Call me half an hour before the end of the meal. I'll send someone to pick you up, Gu Lingqing said. Baya turned her head to look at Gu Lingqing. The sunlight outside the window fell on his resolute face. He was so handsome that it took one's breath away. In the past, she didn't want to trouble others. What he said just now had woken her up. Now, he was her husband. It wasn't trouble. Instead, it was letting him into her life. She didn't treat him as an outsider anymore. All right. I'll call you half an hour before the end of the meal. See you in the afternoon, Baya said gently. I like the food you cook. It's better than what the orderlies cook, Gu Lingqing suddenly said. Baya smiled. If you like the food I cook, I'll cook for you every day. All right. The time that the two of them spent together passed very quickly. Even if they didn't say anything, they wouldn't feel bored. Gu Lingqing saw the research institute from afar. She subconsciously slowed down. Baya looked at the yard number. It had changed from 60 to 40. Although it was slow, there was a warm feeling in her heart. It warmed up the time at this moment. However, no matter how slow she was, they had already reached the building of the research institute. Do you need me to send you up? Gu Lingqing asked, looking at her reluctantly. Baya smiled. Then do you want to move here and work together? We can be Siamese. Don't joke around. Gu Lingqing's expression turned serious. Baya kissed him on the cheek. Hubby, I'm going to work. See you in the afternoon. Gu Lingqing looked at her with a burning gaze. He enjoyed her initiative. Let's go up. Okay, let's go. Baya got out of the car and closed the door for Gu Lingqing. She walked upstairs and didn't notice Su Jiran, who was standing at the window and looking at them. Su Jiran's expression was very bad. It was as cold as December. His face was frozen and emitted a sharp aura. He remembered that Baya had slept with Gu Lingqing and the child. His heart was wrenched. It was very painful, sour and bitter. He was very jealous. He was so jealous that he was going crazy. Baya was his woman. When did he lose her? He wanted her back. It seemed that it was time to take action. Baya walked upstairs. Su Jiran stood in front of her. He didn't look good. He saw the diamond ring on her finger. He grabbed Baya's wrist and raised it up. The diamond was very big and bright. It shone brightly in his eyes. Su Jiran's devilish eyes cracked. He asked, "You agreed to his proposal?" "He only has Zhou Hailan in his heart. Don't you know that?" Baya was very calm. "I didn't agree to his proposal. I'm already married to him. I even got the marriage certificate. I'll invite you on the day of the banquet." "Are you crazy?" Su Jiran flung Baya's hand away. He held her shoulders tightly. "Gu Lingqing doesn't love you at all. I'll decide whether I love him or not. I don't need others to tell me what to do," Baya said coldly and pushed Su Jiran's hand away. "You're married to him. What about me? Baya, can't you see what I've done for you for the past 3 years? I love you. I've turned over a new leaf. I've stopped contacting any other women. You're the only one in my heart. Don't you believe that you're the only one I love?" Su Jiran said. He looked at Baya with a pleading tone. "I already know why you provoked me back then." Baya stared straight at Su Jiran. "It's because he's your father that I showed mercy. For you, I can let go of my hatred. Don't leave me. I'm the one who loves you the most." Su Jiran frowned. "Now I love him. Sooner or later, you'll be heavily wounded by him. Believe me, Baya, if you go back on your word now, you probably haven't entered the archives of the Civil Affairs Bureau yet. There's still time. I can think of a way to revoke it." Chapter 200. Baya was shocked. She turned around and looked at Gu Lingqing. He had one hand in his pocket and his steps were heavy. He walked up the stairs step by step and looked at Su Jiran with a strong gaze. His body was shrouded in an imposing manner. Su Jiran narrowed his eyes and glared at him, his eyes filled with hatred. "You can't give Baya happiness," Su Jiran said directly. Gu Lingqing walked to Baya and put his arm around Baya's waist. He pulled Baya to his side and announced his ownership. "It's not up to you to decide whether I can give her happiness or not. Don't you think you're just saying that the grapes are sour because you can't eat them?" Su Jiran gritted his teeth. "I'm not going to argue with you." He walked past Gu Lingqing and walked towards the stairs. Gu Lingqing turned around and looked at him condescendingly. "Mr. Su, I won't interfere with my wife's right to make friends, but there's a limit to everything. If some people have wild ambitions, I'll have to use extreme measures." When Gu Lingqing said this, he hugged Baya a little tighter. "Extreme measures?" Su Jiran smiled. He was not afraid at all. On the contrary, his eyes were full of mockery. "You can't get love if you're strong, Baya." Su Jiran looked at Baya. "Don't forget that you promised to have lunch with him at noon. I'll contact you at noon." Gu Lingqing looked at Baya coldly and frowned. "You promised to have lunch with him at noon? When did you promise? Why didn't I know about it?" Baya's eyes flickered. She was thinking about what to say. Su Jiran answered for her. "To be exact, I agreed to it last night." Gu Lingqing frowned even more. "Did you agree to have lunch with him before or after I proposed?" Baya guessed that Gu Lingqing was overthinking. Did he think that she agreed to have a meal with Su Jiran because she wanted to develop her relationship with Su Jiran? She was not going to take the blame for this. Baya explained, "I have something to tell him, so I made an appointment to meet. If you want to get to the bottom of it, he is blocking Mu Xiaoxing's case. I only agreed to eat with him in a compromise way." Baya told the truth and looked at Su Jiran. However, Su Jiran left through the stairs. Perhaps the scene of Baya and Gu Lingqing standing together was too beautiful for him to look at. Gu Lingqing looked more relaxed than before. "He's your ex-husband and he's chasing after you. He even asked you to cancel the marriage with me. If we weren't married, you would have the right to be pursued. Now that you're my wife, shouldn't you deliberately avoid it? Baya, I'm a human being, not a god. I have 7 emotions and 6 desires, and I'm a normal man. You eat with another man behind my back, and he is your ex-husband, and he even wants to meet your ex-husband who wants to remarry you. I will also be jealous. Gu Lingqing lectured Baya. He said it seriously, but his jealousy was flying. She felt embarrassed. I know. If he asks me out next time, I'll refuse. Baya promised. There's a next time. Gu Lingqing's voice became sharp. But Baya felt warm in her heart. She liked the feeling of being valued and cared for by him. He asked me out, so he has the initiative. I can't do anything about it. But I'll refuse. I think I've already told him what I should say, Baya explained. Gu Lingqing nodded and didn't keep staring at her question. Go to Mu Xiaoxing's office and get the documents. Let's go to the military area. We don't have to stay outside to eat. There's food in the military area. Gu Lingqing said overbearingly. Got it. Baya walked towards Mu Xiaoxing's office. She knocked on the door and pushed it open. When Mu Xiaoxing saw Baya, it was as if he had seen his savior. Baya, you came just in time. Please save me. I'm still at my wit's end about this case. I promised Deputy General Manager Su that the time to solve the case is tomorrow. Baya walked in and sat opposite Mu Xiaoxing. She asked, what's the information you got from the forensics department and the police station? Mu Xiaoxing handed all the information to Baya. Unimaginable, unimaginable. Mu Xiaoxing repeatedly sighed. When collecting, the evidence was badly damaged. There's very little useful information, and the time of death can't be determined. There's one piece of information. Tony was cut very neatly by a sharp weapon. The cut was so neat that it made people's hair stand on end. It didn't look like a human being, but more like a machine. However, the surveillance camera didn't record Tony leaving Su Xiaoling's room. Su Xiaoling said that she was very angry at that time. She wanted to kill Tony, but she didn't have the courage to do it. She asked Tony to leave, but Tony shamelessly refused to leave. He wanted to have sex with Su Xiaoling. Su Xiaoling was so angry that she left. Mu Xiaoxing pushed his glasses and scratched his head. You said that Su Xiaoling left before Tony. Baya heard something strange. After she left, did she go back? Mu Xiaoxing shook his head. The video did capture Su Xiaoling leaving, but it didn't capture her coming back. Don't you think it's strange? There's nothing strange about it. This situation is very simple. Gu Lingqing's voice sounded. Baya looked behind him. Gu Lingqing also walked in. Why are you here? Baya asked. You took too long to take a document, Gu Lingqing said confidently. Baya, Mu Xiaoxing saw that another big shot had come and immediately nodded. 2 big shots came to his place in one day. It was really an honor to have 2 big shots here. Then what does the chief mean? Why don't you think it's strange? Mu Xiaoxing asked respectfully. Tony has a strong body. He used to be an extreme sports enthusiast. He often participated in group activities such as parkour. Su Xiaoling's rented house is on the 3rd floor. The height of the 3rd floor is easy for an extreme athlete. So, he can jump out of the window and go anywhere, Gu Lingqing explained. A place, Gu Lingqing explained. Yes. He dismembered the body. First, it's convenient to dispose of the body. Second, he has a deep hatred for Tony. Before Gu Lingqing finished, Mu Xiaoxing interrupted, yes. Not only did he throw the body into the toilet, but he also stuffed Tony's penis into his mouth. Then it's easy to investigate. Tony has syphilis and has infected many people. The person who killed him is also a patient. Next, I think Baya will give you a much clearer answer than me. Gu Lingqing looked at Baiya. Tony had syphilis and infected many people. The person who killed him was also a patient. Next, I think Baiya will give you a much clearer answer than I did. Gu Lingqing looked at Baiya. Mu Shaoxing also looked at Baiya. Chapter 201. Baiya, I'm curious. How did you determine that the murderer wasn't alone? Also, how did you determine that the family conditions were ordinary? How could you infer that it was a former girlfriend? What's your basis? Tony was 190 centimeters tall and weighed 170 centimeters. Do you think a person could carry his body? Besides, the location of the corpse run was very remote. It was a public toilet in an old neighborhood. The location of this public toilet was also very remote. Even cars couldn't enter. The murderer was very familiar with the terrain. He could even know when there was no one around. Even if he met someone, his appearance might not be suspicious. Do you think a rich person would appear in such a remote public toilet? Tony was a diamond star. The women who dated him were either rich or expensive. There were also beautiful women like Su Shaoling. Every bullet he fired was very valuable. He wouldn't waste it on women. Then, there was another kind of woman that he was willing to waste his bullets on. She was either still in love or abandoned. Anyway, it must be a woman he dated before. As for the cutting equipment, if it was someone else's, it would be too bold of them to use it to cut the body. Besides, the corpse was stored in an ordinary black plastic bag. Most people wouldn't have this kind of plastic bag, unless they were selling fish or meat. Such shops would give them to them. Baiya analyzed methodically. You only suspect that it was 2 people. Could it be more than 2 people? Mu Shaoxing guessed. Impossible. First of all, it would be difficult for anyone to talk about that disease. Second, it was his ex-girlfriend. Her circle was actually a bit far away from Tony's. It was unlikely that she would come into contact with Tony's diamond clients. So, it was impossible for her to cooperate with a diamond client. Mu Shaoxing listened to Baiya's words and suddenly understood. Baiya, this is criminal psychology. You even learned this? You're too awesome. No wonder you're so famous in the circle. Mu Shaoxing praised. Please do your work. Gu Lingqing reminded Mu Shaoxing. Mu Shaoxing looked at Gu Lingqing. Suddenly, he remembered that there was still something he hadn't done. He said to Baiya, this morning, the relevant department sent a document. I haven't read it yet. Relevant departments? Baiya looked at Gu Lingqing. I'll go and see what it is later. I'm too busy with Tony's case. I'm not in the mood to read it. Mu Shaoxing flipped through the documents. Gu Lingqing, Mu Shaoxing saw the stamp of the special military region at the bottom of the document and did not dare to say anything. He looked at Gu Lingqing guiltily and handed the document to Baiya. Go. Thank you for this case. Hee hee. Mu Shaoxing laughed dryly. I'll contact you later. Baiya took the document and put it in her bag. We'll go first, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice, turned around, and walked out of Mu Shaoxing's office. Mu Shaoxing waves to Baiya. You can call me if you need anything. I promised you, and I won't go back on my word. I'm doing psychological tests for the soldiers in the military, so I still have time to help you, Baiya said. Well, thank you, Baiya. Baiya followed Gu Lingqing out of the research institute and got into his car. He asked darkly, what did you promise Mu Shaoxing again? Baiya took a deep breath and said without hiding anything, 3 years ago, I wanted to go to a famous university abroad to study psychology. I asked Mu Shaoxing to do it. He paid for all the expenses. We agreed that I would work for him for a few years after I returned to China. Mu Shaoxing is kind and generous. He doesn't need me to work for him, but I can't forget my roots. I made an agreement with him to help him with 20 psychological counseling cases. Mu Shaoxing is a big tree that attracts the wind. His reputation is too great, so many police stations will ask him for help. In fact, psychological research is divided into many kinds. Criminal psychology is a clearly distinguished subject. I happened to learn it when I was abroad, so I can help him. He should specially recruit this kind of expert, Gu Lingqing suggested. In our country, people who specialize in this field will go to the police station. Now, with the outbreak of more and more psychological problems, many departments are paying attention to it. Basically, there will be such people in the police station. If the police station finds Mu Shaoxing, it means that with their current ability, they can't solve it. So, as the dean of the research institute, Mu Shaoxing must find an expert in the industry. Otherwise, it will be meaningless, Baya explained. Gu Lingqing paused for a while. What were you going to do after you accepted the 20 tasks? Open a psychological clinic and see 1 or 2 patients a day. It's enough to maintain my glamorous life. My consultation fees abroad are very high, Baya said lightly. You and Mu Shaoxing are in the same line. He agreed. Gu Lingqing was surprised. Baya raised the corner of his mouth. He mainly targets enterprises, institutions, and civilians. His research institute will have a lot of subsidies from the state. So, if the police station wants people, he must give them. I'm different. The people who come to see me are either rich or respectable. Ordinary people look down on me. So, I actually don't have any competition with him. Of course, if he can't handle it, he will transfer it to me. If they need my help, I will not refuse. Will you have any business? If not, I can use the name of the military to hire you, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. I don't like to be restricted. I want freedom. Freedom is good. I can do whatever I want. Gu Lingqing looked at her deeply. It's up to you if you like it. If you don't want to work, it's okay. I will support you. Baya smiled knowingly. Women still needed to be independent financially. They needed something to do. They shouldn't put 100% of their heart on their husband. Her husband would feel suffocated and she would be unhappy. She would feel neglected for small things. If the relationship was too tense, it would break up. She should do her own things. Even if one day, their relationship broke up and her husband didn't want her, at least she still had a job and a career. They returned to the military base. The orderly brought over 3 dishes and a soup. There were shredded pork, sweet and sour pork ribs, tomato and eggs, and black-bone chicken soup. Let's do it at 3 in the afternoon. I will gather some people to help you with the psychological plan. Is that okay? Gu Lingqing asked. Yes, it's okay. You need to have some understanding of the structure of the military. I will give you the information later. Baya nodded. Lieutenant Colonel Song came over nervously. Gu Lingqing looked at him. What's wrong? Chief, I have something to tell you. Lieutenant Colonel Song lowered his head with a troubled expression. Baya looked at Gu Lingqing and walked over. She didn't want to listen to their military information. She lowered her head and ate. After listening to Lieutenant Colonel Song's report, Gu Lingqing was shocked. He was too excited that his hands were trembling. Chapter 202. Baya nodded. He left in a hurry, clenching his fists and furrowing his brows. His eyes were misty. Baya was a little worried about him. His expression was very abnormal. She walked to the window and watched as Gu Lingqing strode out. He didn't even see the soldiers greet him as he got into the car. Because Gu Lingqing left in a hurry, he didn't give her the information. She didn't know if Gu Lingqing still had time for the meeting in the afternoon to discuss the psychological test plan. After eating, she lay on the bed and played with her phone. Mu Shaoxing called. Baya answered, What's wrong, Shaoxing? Baya, you're really good at predicting things. We've already caught Tony's ex-girlfriend. Their family owns a raw meat processing factory. She confessed to killing Tony. She and Tony used to be a couple, but her parents didn't like Tony, so she broke up with him. She married her current husband and had a son. Then, Tony hooked up with her and they rekindled their relationship. She didn't expect Tony to have syphilis and he infected her, and she infected her husband. Her husband flew into a rage out of humiliation and started a murder plan. That day, Tony left Su Xiaoling's place and received a call for a date. She said that her husband wasn't at home and asked him to go to her house. She even made Tony drink alcohol mixed with drugs. Tony fainted and they put him in the freezer to freeze him to death. They're cutting him up with machines, Mu Xiaoxing narrated. What about their child? Isn't he an orphan now? Bai Ye's heart ached for this innocent child. This child is Tony's after a DNA test. When we found her, the child had already been frozen to death by her husband, Mu Xiaoxing said sadly. After hanging up, Bai Ye felt a little sad. People should never do anything wrong. Otherwise, if they didn't take revenge now, there would be retribution in the future. If Tony's girlfriend didn't despise him and they got married, it would still be Tony's. Tony wasn't emotionally affected and had a partner he loved deeply. He might not have gone down the path of a male prostitute. Tony's girlfriend shouldn't have married her current husband with someone else's child. No man could tolerate his wife having another man's child. Just like she did in the past. If she hadn't insisted on giving birth to the child wouldn't have become a permanent pain in her heart. Bai Ye's mood became bad. She knew that she couldn't let her imagination run wild anymore. Otherwise, her illness would act up again. She turned on her computer, ready to do some homework and divert her thoughts. A text message rang. She subconsciously took a look at it. It was a picture of Gu Lingqing. The clothes he was wearing were also what he was wearing today. He was hugging a girl tightly. Bai Ye's heart tightened as she clicked on the photo. Because Gu Lingqing was holding the girl, only Gu Lingqing's face and the girl's back could be seen. The girl was wearing a red long-sleeved dress. She was tall and thin, and her long hair was tied into a ponytail. Ding dong, the second message was sent. Bai Ye opened it. Gu Lingqing's eyes were filled with tears as he hugged the girl tightly. Bai Ye also cried, and tears flowed down her cheeks. The third photo was quickly sent. Gu Lingqing held the girl's shoulder and kissed the girl's forehead. In the fourth photo, Gu Lingqing carried the girl into his car. In the fifth photo, Gu Lingqing carried the girl to the hotel. The name of the hotel was Zhuzhou Interstellar Hotel. Another text message came, they are in the 2108 presidential suite of Zhuzhou Interstellar Hotel. If you want to stop anything, go quickly. Bai Ye threw her phone on the ground. It would take her at least an hour to get to Zhuzhou Interstellar Hotel. What could she stop? She couldn't stop anything. When her mind and body were no longer with her, would it be useful for her to stop them? She thought of her and Su Jiran's wedding, Gu Lingqing's betrayal 3 years ago, and those photos. No wonder Gu Lingqing left in such a hurry. No wonder the things that had been arranged couldn't be done. Her heart was filled with overwhelming anger, grievance, and sadness. These flames rushed directly to her brain. She couldn't control the chaos in her mind. For a moment, she felt that she was still in the hellish marriage with Su Jiran, lonely and helpless. For a moment, she felt that she was still in her Zhou Hailan time after Gu Lingqing's accident, and her heart was aching and she was about to despair. Gradually, she remembered that she had lived for more than 3 years. The man she fell in love with again still betrayed her body, and betrayed her heart. No one liked her, no one loved her, and no one would protect her. She was just a psychopath. Yes, she was not only a psychiatrist, but also a psychopath. She was hiding and numbing herself, but no matter how numb she was, she couldn't deceive herself. She was a psychopath, just like her mother. Bai Ye burst into tears. She threw the lamp, the vase, and the glass. She threw her computer, the bed sheets, the quilt, and everything that could be smashed and couldn't be smashed on the ground. Yesterday, she had just made love with Gu Lingqing on this bed. Now she felt extremely disgusted when she thought about it. The things were too messy. When she went to get the bonsai on the windowsill, she tripped herself and fell to the ground. The sharp porcelain pieces entered her flesh and blood. At that moment, it was very painful, and it hurt so much that her reason returned to her mind. Fresh blood flowed out. Baya looked at the mess in the room and knew that her illness was acting up. Her tears were still flowing, and her heart was bleeding. If she died like this, would it be too ugly? Lu Shuang would be sad. Her mother would be helpless. Gu Lingqing would be filled with disgust and hatred whenever he mentioned her because she had died in his place, dirtying his things and adding to his troubles. She had to die, but not here. Baya endured the pain and got up. The blood had dyed her clothes red. She unbuttoned her clothes and looked at her body. There were many wounds. Fortunately, only a porcelain piece broke her clothes and pierced into her flesh. Baya pulled out the porcelain piece, and the blood flowed faster. She chose a white dress from the suitcase, tore it, and tied up the wound. She couldn't let Gu Lingqing's orderly come in. Otherwise, the orderly would definitely tell Gu Lingqing. She still wanted to keep the last bit of her dignity. She didn't want anyone to know that she had a mental problem. She took out all the clothes in her suitcase, threw them on the sofa, and put all the pieces on the ground into the suitcase. She wiped the blood from the bed sheet and threw the bed sheet into the suitcase. Fortunately, the quilt was not stained with blood. She carried the quilt to the sofa. When she stood up, she began to feel dizzy because of the loss of blood. Chapter 203. Baya sat on the sofa and rested for a while. Her eyelids drooped. She couldn't faint. She shook her head and stood up. She put on a bright lipstick on her pale lips and changed into clean clothes. She wrapped herself in a black trench coat. In this way, even if she bled, no one would notice. She pulled her suitcase out and said to the orderly, "Hello, I'm sorry. My suitcase is broken. It means a lot to me. I'm going out to repair it. Could you please call a car for me? Also, the bed sheets are dirty. Please change them." "Oh, okay. I'll call someone to drive a car over now. Please wait for 5 minutes." The orderly went to make the call. Baya walked into the kitchen. Gu Lingqing could give special treatment here. She took out some candies and took a big bite. She warmed it up in her mouth and swallowed it. "Yes," the orderly reported. "Thank you," Baya said calmly and pulled the suitcase past the orderly. The orderly saw that the 4 wheels were all good and the zipper was not broken. Where was it broken? However, he heard that this lady might be the future wife of the chief, so he didn't dare to ask. Baya got in the car and almost fainted. "Please go to Shuiyu International. I'm a little sleepy and want to sleep for a while. When you get there, remember to wake me up." "I'm a little sleepy." You must wake me up," Baya said to the driver. "Okay." In fact, she could go to Lu Shuang's place. Lu Shuang was a doctor. He must have the medicine and tools she needed. However, Lu Shuang would be worried when he saw her injured. Besides, Lu Shuang was too straightforward. She closed her eyes and fainted. The orderly went into the room to change the bedsheets. He found that the original bedsheets were gone. He couldn't find them. The lamp on the chief's bedside table, the cup, and the vase were all gone. These things were not valuable. The vase was only dozens of yuan. It was useless for the lady to steal it. Should he report this to the chief or not? Hello. Wake up, wake up. Baya was woken up. He had a terrible headache and his lips were cracked. He looked at the soldier weakly. The soldier asked worriedly, "Are you all right? You don't look well." Baya smiled. "I didn't sleep well last night." "Thank you. You can go back first." "I'll go back myself." "All right then." The soldier looked at Baya suspiciously. Baya got out of the car. Feeling a little dizzy, he supported himself against the car. The soldier was carrying the luggage, so he didn't notice Baya's abnormality. Then I'll be leaving first. If you want me to pick you up, you can just call the chief's orderly, the soldier reminded. Thank you, Baya said softly. Watching the car leave, she fainted. After some time, she opened her eyes and saw a gorgeous crystal chandelier. You're awake, Su Jiran said softly. Baya looked at him. His eyes were filled with pity. Why am I here? Baya asked suspiciously. She wanted to sit up. Su Jiran pressed down on her shoulders. You're lying down. You're badly injured and have a fever. How did this happen? Did Gu Lingqing hit you? Baya shook her head. I accidentally fell. What time is it now? 5:20 p.m., Su Jiran said. Baya pulled out the needle on her wrist. I have to go. I have a meeting in the afternoon. There are many things I haven't done. Su Jiran looked at Baya with heartache, but he didn't force her. Alright, I'll send you back. Where's my bag and suitcase? Baya asked. They're outside in front of the sofa. Su Jiran turned around. Baya went out. She saw her bag and suitcase. She took out her phone from her bag. There were a few calls. They were all from her former clients. There were also calls from Lu Shuang, but there was no call from Gu Lingqing. Her heart was very sour. She used coldness to hide her sadness. If she guessed correctly, Gu Lingqing should still be with that girl. However, no matter what, she wanted to confront him face to face. Su Jiran looked at Baya deeply. Let's go. Baya carried the suitcase out and poured everything into the dustbin. Then, she carried the empty suitcase back. When she reached the entrance of the military base, it was already 6:30 p.m. She looked at her phone. There was still no call from Gu Lingqing. Ask the people inside to come out and pick you up. Otherwise, you won't be able to go in, Su Jiran reminded her. Baya unlocked the car and got out. Su Jiran didn't get out of the car, but he lowered the window and reminded her, don't forget to take your medicine. You're still having a fever. You're a doctor. You know better than anyone else. Also, I'll be waiting for you to come back. Baya watched Su Jiran's car leave. She picked up her phone and stared at Gu Lingqing's number for a while. Finally, she called him. Hello, Xiaoya. I have something to do. I'll be back later. You can eat first. Don't wait for me. I've arranged the meeting at 8 a.m. tomorrow, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Baya suddenly felt that she didn't want to say anything. She hung up the phone. Humans are all cheap. She wanted to say that it was okay. I have something to do too. I might not be back for a few days. However, she wanted to ask him personally. What was he thinking? Who was that girl? In the end, she was unwilling to give up. She took a taxi to a 5-star hotel and asked for 2110 Presidential Suite, which was just opposite Gu Lingqing's room. She felt that she was a pervert now. She looked through the peephole and at the opposite door like a jealous woman. She hated her behavior very much. However, if she didn't do it, she couldn't get over the barrier in her heart. She waited and waited. At 10:20 p.m., a delivery man knocked on Gu Lingqing's door. Gu Lingqing opened the door and went in with the food. Baya then remembered that she hadn't had dinner either. However, she didn't want to eat. At 12 p.m., Gu Lingqing finally came out. Baya opened the door and looked out. Gu Lingqing had taken a shower. His hair was still wet. He walked quickly to the elevator. In her heart, all the perseverance collapsed. It was as if a mountain had finally been crossed. It pressed her heart into the dark ground. Baya closed the door and lay down on the bed dispiritedly. At this time, She felt very tired. Because of standing for a long time, her feet were tired and sore. The surroundings were very quiet. It was so quiet that she could hear her own breathing. This was the arrangement of fate. Even if she didn't do anything against reason and nature. What she wanted was very simple. Really simple. She wanted a happy life. After all, she coveted something that didn't belong to her. That was why she was living such a painful life now. She looked at the phone. There was still no Gu Lingqing's number on the phone. In fact, when she suddenly hung up the phone, Gu Lingqing should have known that she was angry. Chapter 204. She didn't have to love someone who didn't care about her. Baiya made a decision, stood up, and walked into the bathroom. Looking at herself in the mirror, she tapped her fingers on the sink. Baiya, don't be sad. Everyone has the right to choose. Whether he loves you or not is not something you can control, and you can't control it. A melon that is forcibly twisted is not sweet. Forced love will only end in tragedy. Only you know the pain in between. But as long as you don't love him, you won't be hurt, and you won't feel wronged. Whoever he loves has nothing to do with you. You just have to remember that no one in this world loves you. You can only love yourself. Don't kill yourself, don't despair, don't hurt others, and don't hurt yourself. Baiya retracted her hand, and the surroundings became quiet again. Her eyes dimmed, and she calmed down. All right, she failed to hypnotize herself. She still felt the pain in her heart, and the sorrow that felt like it was being cut by a knife. At the same time, she felt sad that she had to use hypnosis to numb herself. It was a pity that she knew too well that she was hypnotizing herself, but she couldn't do it. Baiya brushed her teeth and lay on the bed. She closed her eyes and told herself not to think about anything. Her heart was still hurting. She picked up her phone and dialed an 11-digit number. She didn't know where the person was from, whether it was a man or a woman, an old man or a child. She just wanted to talk to a stranger. After that, she might not be as sad as she was now. The phone rang 3 times, and the other party picked up. Hello, who is this? It was a man's voice. His voice was deep, and it sounded very steady. Hello, may I ask, did I disturb your rest? Baiya said apologetically. What's the matter? Speak, the other party said straightforwardly. Baiya felt that her behavior was very abrupt. She was in a bad mood, and she thought that she could talk to a stranger and spit on him. That way, she wouldn't feel as stressed as she was now. But she realized that she couldn't say it at all. Sorry to disturb you. Baiya hung up. The other party called again, and his tone wasn't very good. What's the matter? Speak. I just want to talk to someone. You're sick. Baiya's lips curled up, and her eyes were moist. She said calmly, yes, I'm sick, mentally ill. Ever since I came back, I've been acting more frequently. I don't even know what I'm doing. I don't have any energy after that, and suddenly, I wake up. Oh, it's me again. You? The other party asked. Yes. Baiya suddenly wanted to laugh. She made a random phone call and ended up calling a patient. My first husband married me because he wanted revenge. I lived a sexless marriage for 3 years, watching him having fun with other women every day. Eventually, we divorced, my Maya, and love, ya to do, to say. I was saved by someone else. I looked at my friend crying, and I suddenly felt that I couldn't let my loved ones be in pain and my enemies be happy. I chose to study psychology overseas. From then on, I knew that I had a psychological problem. I wanted to save myself, so I became a famous psychologist. I can cure others, but I can't cure myself. I married the man who lost his memory. On the first day of our marriage, I saw him with another woman. My heart was in so much pain that I wished I didn't have a heart. Only then would I feel better. I tried to hypnotize myself, but I failed. Baya said all the pain in her heart. After that, she felt better. It was as if a tight string had been loosened. The other party was silent. Thank you for listening to me. It's late, I won't disturb you anymore. Go to bed early. People who stay up late have a short life. That's true, Baya said gently. You're a psychologist? The man asked. Baya thought that since he listened to her nagging for free, she should return the favor. I'm a psychologist who can't treat my own illness. If you're willing to believe me, I can try to treat you for free. I lose my temper easily. Once I lose my temper, I'll smash things. I'll scold people. I'll scold my parents, my brother, and my girlfriend. Now, I've been deserted by everyone. I feel that none of the employees in my company like me. Sometimes, I want to change, but I just can't. I listen to my employees and call me a devil, a madman, a pervert, and so on, the man said in confusion. From his voice, Baya could tell that he didn't seem to have been woken up by her. He was very quiet on the other side. His voice was firm and steady. He didn't drink. You're living alone now. It's 12:30 at night, and you're still working. You're a person who is very serious about work and has a strong sense of responsibility. You're very sensitive. You've enjoyed glory that no one else has. You've also experienced many setbacks and been looked down upon by others. You're very conceited, and you're very ambitious. You care a lot about what others think of you. You're very tired. When you lose your temper, it might be because your employees don't meet your requirements. You feel that you're far from your goal, and you feel that you're a failure. And what you don't want to be the most is a failure, Baya analyzed. You know me. The man was very surprised. I don't know you. You think that a lot of people are staring at you and watching you make a fool of yourself. In fact, they don't care about you at all. They just look at you after meals. The ones who really care about you are those who care about you even though they're scolded by you. They don't leave you. And such people are actually by your side. The man was silent. One day, when you're very successful and you flaunt your success to the whole world, you'll realize that no one is willing to look at you. Even if you find someone to tell them how successful you are, no one wants to hear it, especially those who knew you before or those who used to despise you. Do you know why? Baya asked in return. Because my success will make them sad and uncomfortable, the man said. Yes, this is human nature. Not only will they not worship you, but they'll also be jealous of you. What's more frightening is that they'll hate you. You've used 100% of your effort to hurt your loved ones, but you'll be hated by others. Is it interesting? Baya explained. I think what you said makes sense. Don't be too radical. Live a good life. Under the premise of living a good life, slowly do your business. Let you become the benefit of others. You'll get help from everyone. When you reach a certain height, everyone will hope that you're better. Because when you're better, they'll be better. Slow down. Sometimes, mistakes are good things. They give you experience so that you don't make mistakes when you're successful. That way, you'll never fall, Baya said gently. I feel that after hearing what you said, I'm suddenly a lot more optimistic. I'm not depressed anymore. You can cure others, but why can't you cure yourself? I don't know, Baya said. His phone rang. There was a call. Chapter 205. I'm not studying psychology, but I think that since that man has already cheated on you, it's fine if you don't want him. You can always wait for someone who treats you wholeheartedly. The key is to be willing to give up, the man said. Thank you, I have a call. I'll hang up first. Baya hung up the phone. She looked at the caller ID of Gu Lingqing and didn't answer. When people are impulsive, angry, wronged, or angry, it's best to calm down for 5 minutes. Sometimes, sharp words will only make the other party sad, and when the other party is sad, you might not feel better. Especially when the other party is your family, friend, colleague, boss, or lover. Gu Lingqing called again, and Baiya only answered it. Where are you? Gu Lingqing asked, sounding a little tired. Baiya thought, when this man used up all his strength and patience on other women. If she lost her strength and patience, what was the use of throwing a tantrum? The other party will feel annoyed, feel that she has nothing good about her, and see her as painful. It's human nature to avoid pain and pursue happiness. More importantly, when a girl loses her temper, it's to make a guy change and care. He won't change, and he won't care. Then, she will hurt herself when she loses her temper. I'm outside, I have something to deal with, Baiya said lightly. Okay, see you tomorrow. Baiya twitched the corner of her mouth. He's not even willing to talk. He didn't ask what she is dealing with and if she needs help. Ha! Men are the most heartless animals, no one can compare. I'm hanging up, Baiya said softly. She hung up the phone, turned it off, and lay on the bed. The clearer it was, the more she knew everything, but in fact, the more painful it was. She knew that she couldn't sleep. No one loved her, so she had to cherish herself. She took out the medicine from her bag, took it, and lay on the bed. When she woke up the next day, she had a splitting headache, a dry throat, and her eyes hurt so much that she couldn't open them. She seemed to have a serious fever. She looked at her phone. It was already 10 o'clock. She got up from the bed, wobbling as if she was stepping on cotton. After brushing her teeth and washing up, she took a taxi to the nearby hospital. When she got out of the car, she saw Gu Lingqing's car pass her. He got out of the car and opened the passenger door. He carried a girl out and walked towards the hospital. She sat in the taxi and stared at Gu Lingqing's disappearing figure. If she wasn't his wife, if they were strangers, or if he didn't agree to marry her, she wouldn't be as sad as she was now. As long as she thought about how similar scenes would appear in her future married life, she felt like she was in purgatory. Just thinking about it made her tremble all over. She did not want such a life. She dug out her phone from her bag, her hands trembling. Beauty, do you want to get off? The driver asked. Let's go to the First People's Hospital, Baiya said to the driver. The driver drove to the First People's Hospital. Baiya dialed Su Jiran's number. Today is the second day of my marriage with Gu Lingqing. Do you have any way to help me cancel the marriage? I don't want to marry him. Yes, your marriage information with him hasn't been entered into the computer. As long as you steal the marriage certificate now, you won't be married. You won't be able to find any information about your marriage. Also, I have to tell you that he didn't use the military certificate to marry you. So, your marriage is considered a normal one. It's easy to deal with, Su Jiran said with a smile on his face. His eyes were full of smiles. This time, Gu Lingqing was really out of the game. Okay, thank you, Baiya said weakly as she had a fever. Just treat me to a meal. Baiya, you already owe me 2 meals. Okay. The most important thing is to get the marriage certificate as soon as possible, Su Jiran reminded her. Okay. Baiya hung up the phone. She was about to faint. She was afraid that she wouldn't be able to hold on when she went to the hospital to register. She saw a private clinic. Just drop me off in front. Baiya took out 50 yuan and passed it to the driver. Keep the change. Thank you. She staggered towards the clinic and asked the doctor to prepare some medicine and powder. Please find a nurse to help me change the bandage. The doctor saw that he was an expert. Anyway, it wouldn't affect his money, so he agreed. Baiya lay on the bed and fainted. When she wanted to come over, it was already 3 hours later. Her wound was covered with medicine and the nurse bandaged it. The medicine was also ready. Hello, madam. Your phone has been ringing a few times, the nurse reminded her with a smile. The service of a private clinic was really good. Thank you. Baya got up from the bed. She was still a little dizzy. It seemed that she had to come over tomorrow. She took out her phone from her bag and saw that it was Gu Lingqing's call. She called him back. When are you coming back? Gu Lingqing asked directly. 1 hour. Get the soldiers to pick me up at the door. Otherwise, I might not be able to come in, Baya said calmly. Okay. Baya put on exquisite makeup in the private clinic. She covered up her haggard and serious illness without a trace. She called back. The person who picked her up at the door was Gu Lingqing. She looked at the tall and strong man in front of her coldly. On the first day of their marriage, he brought a woman to the hotel. On the second day of their marriage, he brought a woman to the hospital. It was very ironic that she was in the same hotel as him. She went to the same hospital as him. The difference was that they were showing off their love, while she was alone. It was impossible to say that she wasn't sad. It was also impossible to say that she didn't feel heartache. Sadness and heartache were useless in front of a heartless man. It was easier to give up. She didn't want to live another 3 years of purgatory of marriage. In another 3 years, she would be 30. All her youth would be wasted. Baya got into Gu Lingqing's car. She didn't mention a word about what happened yesterday and this morning. Gu Lingqing didn't ask about her either. Where's our marriage certificate? Where did you put it? Baya looked ahead and asked casually. In the bedside cabinet. What's wrong? Gu Lingqing asked and looked at her. Baya raised a coquettish smile at him. There was sarcasm, determination, sorrow, and relief in her eyes. Nothing. I was just asking. Okay. Have you eaten? Gu Lingqing asked. She thought of the takeout that he and the girl ordered in the middle of the night. She felt disgusted to eat with him. She didn't have dinner yesterday. She didn't have breakfast this morning. She didn't have lunch either. However, she didn't want to eat with him. She didn't want him to watch her eat. I've eaten. I've arranged the meeting at 4 in the afternoon. I've prepared the information. You can take a look before the meeting. Yes, Baya responded indifferently. She just wanted to get the marriage certificate and destroy it. Gu Lingqing looked at Baya and held her hand. Baya seemed to have been electrocuted. She frowned and pulled her hand out with intense emotions. She looked at him defensively. Chapter 206. What's wrong? Baya narrowed his eyes and looked at Gu Lingqing. This man was very shrewd. There was nothing strange on his unchanging face. He hugged another woman yesterday and stayed up late into the night with another woman. Did he not feel guilty or uneasy towards her? Or did he think that he was a high and mighty king and that any love he gave to a woman was charity, so there was no need to feel guilty or explain? She couldn't understand him, she couldn't understand him, she couldn't see through him. He had never wanted her to walk into his heart. He never cried for her, even when she almost died. But he cried tears of excitement for that girl and his lips left marks on her face. Forget it, forget it, forget it. It's nothing. Something happened recently and I'm not in a good mood. I hope it won't affect you, Baya said with a smile. Gu Lingqing frowned. Do you have to be so sarcastic to me? We're husband and wife. Maybe you don't know me. I've always been weird, cold, indifferent, mean to people, and unfriendly to people. From the first day you met me, you knew I was like this. If you want a divorce, it's still not too late. The Civil Affairs Bureau hasn't registered our letters yet. Sigh, Baya said lazily. You want a divorce, right? Gu Lingqing raised his voice. Baya suddenly felt that it was funny, so she really laughed. He was the one who wanted a divorce now. In the end, he cleared all his mistakes. Whatever, she didn't care. It was fine as long as she could be free. Baya looked at him. Let's talk after the meeting, Gu Lingqing ordered. His face was pale and he gripped the steering wheel tightly. He used so much strength that his nails turned white. Baya looked at his hand indifferently. Was he angry? Was it because of her arrogance or because of his guilt? In fact, in her eyes, he had no right to be angry. Talk after the meeting. Was he afraid that she wouldn't work for him after the divorce? Don't worry, I'm clear about my work, Baya said meaningfully. Gu Lingqing pursed his lips and said nothing. Soon, they arrived at his residence. Baya got out of the car and walked in. He turned around and looked at Gu Lingqing. His cell phone rang. He glanced at her, and the panic in his eyes was caught by Baya. The corners of Baya's mouth curled up slightly. She turned around and walked into the room. Gu Lingqing went outside to answer the call. Hailan, what's wrong? Lingqing, I'm so scared, where are you? Zhou Hailan cried. I'll send someone to accompany you later. I have something to do here. Don't you want me anymore? I'm so ugly now, I know I don't deserve you. Ah. Ah. Don't come any closer, ah. Zhou Hailan screamed. Gu Lingqing heard the sound of things smashing on the other side of the phone and hung up. Gu Lingqing furrowed his brows and looked at his room. Baya was standing at the window, looking at him with a smile. She saw his worry, heartache, pity, and the tenderness in his words. A flash of guilt flashed across Gu Lingqing's eyes, and then reappeared in his deep and distant eyes. Baya closed the curtains and took out the 2 marriage certificates from the drawer of the bedside table. She opened them. Baya was smiling happily on the marriage certificate, just like a flower. Silly. Baya said softly. She tore the 2 marriage certificates and threw them into the toilet, flushing them away. Her state of mind gradually calmed down. She was in no position to blame him now, nor was she in any position to be sad. That was good. When Baya came out of the washroom, Gu Lingqing opened the door and came in. Well, I've already arranged the meeting in the afternoon. I have something to do, so I need to go out for a while, Gu Lingqing said with a twinkle in his eyes. Baya smiled. Will you be back tonight? I'll be back a little late, Gu Lingqing said with a frown. I've taken up 5 minutes of your time. Do you know where I was yesterday? Gu Lingqing was silent for a moment. Although we're married, you still have relative freedom. I believe you won't go overboard. Relative freedom? Baya nodded. Gu Lingqing's words were very good. What he meant was that as his wife, she should give him relative freedom. I was in room 2110 of the 9 States Interstellar Hotel after 9 o'clock last night. You might not know where room 2110 is. To be exact, it's opposite room 2108, Baya said with a smile. Finally, a crack appeared in Gu Lingqing's deep eyes, which seemed to stretch as far as the eye could see. I was at the entrance of the Second People's Hospital at 10:30 in the morning. You went to the hospital at the same time, right? Baya continued. You followed me? Gu Lingqing frowned and looked at Baya in disbelief. She didn't know if she was following him. If he thought that she was following him, then so be it. Who's that girl? Baya asked curiously. Hailan and I aren't like what you think, Gu Lingqing explained. Oh, Zhou Hailan isn't dead. Baya understood. It turned out that the girl he had always loved was back. Although they were no longer considered to be married, her heart still ached terribly. Her love for him wasn't fake. Her 3 years of watching over him wasn't fake. Her stubborn marriage was sincere. Let's hurt one last time. Tears flowed out uncontrollably. Gu Lingqing frowned. We didn't do anything yesterday. She fainted and had a serious phobia. She even cut herself with a knife early in the morning. That's why I sent her to the hospital. Baya cried quietly. She fainted too. She also had a serious mental illness. She was also injured. However, he accompanied other women, while she was alone. Gu Lingqing, I don't need a man to take care of me. I can still live well. She needs you to take care of her. Otherwise, she won't be able to survive. Go take care of her. But, I will never, ever, forgive you. Baiya picked up the suitcase, opened it, and put the clothes into the suitcase. Seeing that she was leaving, Gu Lingqing pulled her up impulsively. He used too much force and tore her wound. Baiya could feel the warm liquid flowing down her skin. Fortunately, the dark clothes covered the blood. What are you talking about? I'm responsible for her. She became like this because of me. It's not what you think, Gu Lingqing explained. His chest was heaving violently. Zhou Hailan became mentally ill because of him. What about her? She became mentally ill because she was cheap. Because her heart wasn't controlled by reason. So, she deserved to be hurt and couldn't bear it. Chapter 207. Gu Lingqing was completely shocked. You're saying that I raped you? There's a child between us. The child is already dead, Baiya said coldly. You. Gu Lingqing felt as if he had been struck by lightning. It took him a long time to recover from his shock. Why didn't you tell me? Did you tell me that Zhou Hailan is still alive? Did you tell me that you accompanied Zhou Hailan until the middle of the night? Did you tell me that you accompanied her to the hospital? Baiya complained loudly. Suddenly, she felt bored. They had already broken up. Still trying to trample on each other was the most childish behavior. It hurt others without benefiting oneself. She calmed herself down. It doesn't matter now. I've already cancelled the registration with the Civil Affairs Bureau. I've also torn up the marriage certificate. You and I are both single now. Go take care of her. What did you say? Gu Lingqing's heart tightened. It was the first time he lost control. He held her arm tightly. The force was so strong that it almost broke her hand. Who gave you this right? Did I agree to the divorce? Baiya pulled her hand with all her might. We're not divorced. It's just the fact that we're not married. That's nonsense. Gu Lingqing let go of her hand. Due to inertia, Baiya fell heavily on the ground. She felt dizzy for a moment and almost fainted. She used all her strength to support herself and looked at Gu Lingqing bitterly. He hugged and hugged other women, but he pushed and hit her. A man could be so heartless. Gu Lingqing's heart tightened. It was more painful than seeing himself fall. He went forward to help her. Baiya pushed his hand away. Gu Lingqing felt that his palm was a little sticky. He took a look and saw that it was all red blood. His heart ached as he looked at Baiya. What's wrong with you? Baiya stood up on her own. Gu Lingqing shouted towards the outside, get the doctor here. Calling you a doctor? Are you trying to make Lu Shuang worry, or are you trying to make Su Shaoling laugh at me? Baiya snapped. Let's stop arguing, okay? I didn't tell you because I didn't want you to worry. I'll take care of Zhou Hailan, Gu Lingqing promised. Gu Lingqing, don't live for your responsibilities. You should live for yourself. I quit. Take good care of Zhou Hailan. Don't let your half-heartedness hurt her again. Your responsibilities have hurt too many people. Ha! Baiya smiled and helped her up. Li. Gu Lingqing held her arm, her eyes misty. Don't go. Baiya squinted at him. Arrange a place for me to stay. I've said that it won't affect my work. If you think that I'm not suitable to work here, you can tell me. Gu Lingqing didn't want her to move out. Do you have to be stubborn with me? Baiya pushed his hand away. I'm not being stubborn with you. I'm just disappointed in you. I'm sorry, Mr. Gu, but I don't have the confidence to live with you. I have another shortcoming, which is that I'm very stingy. I can't tolerate even a grain of sand in my eyes. I really mind my husband taking care of other women. Because I don't like it, be it responsibility or love. Gu Lingqing let go of her hand. His eyes were deep and bottomless. He opened the door and ordered the orderly. I'll clean up the west courtyard for Ms. Bai to live in. Oh, yes. The orderly saw that the chief looked terrible, then looked at Baiya. She didn't look good either, so she left with her head down. Gu Lingqing looked at her. You can rest here now. You're a doctor, so you should know what medicine you need. Write it down for me. I'll go to the infirmary to get it for you. Baiya indeed didn't have the energy to go out again. She neatly wrote the list to Gu Lingqing. You can rest in the guest room first, Gu Lingqing said as he took the list. Baiya nodded, turned around, and walked towards the guest room. Gu Lingqing clenched his fists so tightly that the veins on the back of his hands were popping out. He deliberately said Ms. Bai, guest room, but she didn't feel anything. Was he out of the game? Gu Lingqing threw the vase on the coffee table to the ground. His eyes were bloodshot. He went out and made a call. Give me the phone number of the chief of the Civil Affairs Bureau within a minute. Lieutenant Colonel Song gave Gu Lingqing the number of the chief of the Civil Affairs Bureau within a minute. Gu Lingqing called, and his tone was very bad. I'm Gu Lingqing from the Special Forces. My wife and I got married here yesterday morning. My wife said that you won't record it. What does that mean? Is it negligence on the part of the Civil Affairs Bureau, or do you treat marriage as a joke? Oh, it's like this. Usually, people who get married yesterday will be recorded in the file at least a week later. I'll go check, the chief of the Civil Affairs Bureau reported. Give me an answer in 3 minutes. I want to record it now, Gu Lingqing said angrily. He went to the infirmary with a cold face. Su Shaoling saw Gu Lingqing coming over. She stood up and looked at him affectionately. Gu Lingqing didn't even look at her. He passed the list to Lu Shuang and said in a low voice, help me get these medicines. Su Xiaoling's eyes dimmed again. She sat on the chair, took out the resignation letter from the drawer, and handed it to Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing looked at Su Xiaoling coldly. I don't think there's any need for me to stay here, Su Xiaoling said, and looked at Gu Lingqing's face. He was still expressionless. Go and hand the resignation letter to your direct leader. He will handle it. You can leave after you hand it in. Su Xiaoling didn't hear any intention to persuade him to stay. She was completely desperate. The man she had waited for more than 10 years was too heartless. He had never given her any hope. Gu Lingqing, I curse you to never get the woman you love, Su Xiaoling said coldly. She passed by Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing's face looked even worse. He clenched his fists tightly. Lu Shuang was also afraid of Gu Lingqing. He gave him the medicine without hesitation. She felt that it was good for Baiya to be liked by another man. Gu Lingqing, forget it. He took the medicine and turned to go out. His phone rang. He saw it was the director of the Civil Affairs Bureau and immediately answered. What's the matter? Gu Lingqing asked anxiously. Well, I'm sorry, Chief. Our staff missed your marriage information. Can you and your wife come back again to make it up? The director said in a trembling voice. What? You missed the information list. Can't it be recorded without this? There seems to be something wrong with the computer. I can't find the scanned copy of your marriage certificate. Even the photos of you and your wife are missing. Without these, it can't be recorded. If you are busy, you can ask someone to send the marriage certificate over. You don't have to come in person, the director of the Civil Affairs Bureau said. Yi said. Gu Lingqing hung up the phone. Chapter 208. Gu Lingqing returned to the guest room. Baiya had already changed into a white dress and showered. Where are you hurt? Can you shower? The wound will get infected, Gu Lingqing said worriedly. Baiya didn't want to answer him. Arrange the meeting for tomorrow. You're busy today and I don't have the energy to attend the meeting. I'll rest for a night and I should be fine, Baya said weakly. Let's talk after you've rested. The meeting isn't in a hurry. What do I need to do with the medicine? Gu Lingqing asked. I've already taken a drip today. This medicine is for tomorrow. You can go now. I can sleep after taking the medicine, Baya said with drooping eyes. Gu Lingqing went out to pour a glass of water. Baya had already placed all the medicine in her hand. She took the glass of water and drank a big gulp. She swallowed all the medicine and closed her eyes. The heavy hallucination passed. Gu Lingqing sat on the edge of the bed and looked at her sleeping face. He frowned and covered her forehead with his hand. It was so hot that his palm was sweating. Gu Lingqing's phone rang again. He saw it was Zhou Hailan. He hung up and ordered the orderly, go to room 2108 of the 9 Star Hotel and help me take care of someone. Oh, okay. All right. The orderly hurried out. Gu Lingqing's phone rang again. This time, it was Su Haoran. He asked in surprise, your mom said you and Baya are getting married? Gu Lingqing's dark eyes looked forward. His heart felt like it was being squeezed tightly by a hand. She won't want to marry me. Huh? What's going on? I received a notice yesterday saying that a mentally ill woman kept asking to see me. I went. That woman is Zhou Hailan, Gu Lingqing explained. Su Haoran was even more shocked. Hailan isn't dead. Yes, 30% of her face was burned and she has been undergoing skin grafting. 90% of her body was burned. She had a mental breakdown and was locked up for treatment. She finally managed to escape and is very afraid of being locked up again. His spirit is in extreme panic and inferiority complex, Gu Lingqing explained. Who imprisoned her? Didn't they say that only Xia He survived? Back then, she and I were trapped in the house. She asked me to take the government official away first. When we got out, the roof collapsed, and she was completely trapped inside. There were people chasing after us, and I couldn't make it in time. I could only escort the government official onto the plane, and when I returned, the house had already been burned to ashes. She was dug out and her body was burnt. I thought she was dead, Gu Lingqing said in a choked voice. So, you've been imprisoned by a terrorist organization for so many years? Su Haoran was suspicious. She's been imprisoned for 3 years and started to have mental problems. After that, she was rescued by the special forces and directly reported to the military committee. With their unanimous agreement, they hid her information and locked her in the research room for treatment. Who are they? Su Haoran had a bad feeling. President, your father, my father, Deputy Chief Cheng. Su Haoran suddenly understood, so, this time, Zhou Hailan was able to escape successfully because my father and your father let her out on purpose to prevent you from marrying Baya? Gu Lingqing was silent. Then what are you going to do? Su Haoran was also worried for his friend. I have to take care of Hailan. She was injured because of me and suffered for almost 9 years. I can't leave her alone. He was very sure of this. What about Baya? Su Haoran asked tentatively. I love her, Gu Lingqing said firmly. Su Haoran understood. I didn't expect that after going around in circles with her and losing your memory, you would fall in love with her again. As your brother, I can only support you. Haoran, there's something. I don't know if you know, but I was stronger than her back then. Gu Lingqing couldn't remember anything at all. 6 years ago, you were on a mission and the enemy registered drugs. Coincidentally, she was also kidnapped, so you had sex with her. You've been brooding over this matter. After that, Baya had a very unfortunate life. You felt that it was your fault, so you approached her and slowly became attracted to her. Su Haoran explained. I have a child with her. Do you know about this? Gu Lingqing asked immediately. You have a child with her? Su Haoran was also shocked. I don't know about this, but where's the child? Where is he now? Baya said that the child died. Gu Lingqing's eyes dimmed. I don't know about that. I was already at the Air Force Academy at that time. Do you want to investigate this matter? The child is very important. What happened? How did the child die? Su Haoran asked a few questions in a row. He also wanted to know about the child. He hated himself for losing his memory. Otherwise, he would have been able to find more clues. If the child didn't die, maybe you and Baya are a match made in heaven. Even the heavens don't want you two to be separated, Su Haoran suddenly said. Gu Lingqing's eyes lit up. Then, let's start from that mission. He turned on his computer and entered the confidential file room. He entered the search for Gu Lingqing. In his file, there was only information from 4 years ago. He had seen this information before when he lost his memory. There was nothing special about it. He also heard from his father that he became the chief 4 years ago. In other words, his authority could only start from 4 years ago. His mission had been completed 6 years ago. 6 years ago, he was still a colonel. He should be under General Kai Qingyun's command. General Kai Qingyun had retired and returned to his hometown 4 years ago. Gu Lingqing checked on General Kai's hometown, Jinyuan City. Jinyuan City and Jinyang City belonged to the same province. The two cities were separated by 2 hours. It was time for him to visit this old leader. Gu Lingqing wrote down General Kai Qingyun's contact number. He turned off his computer and went to the guest room to check on Baya. Baya was still unconscious. Her nose and forehead were covered in sweat, especially her neck, which was oozing with sweat. He took a dry towel and wiped the sweat off her body. She had just been on an 4 drip. He could only use physical methods to help her lower her body temperature. He fetched a basin of cold water from the bathroom. He soaked the towel and wrung it until it was half dry. He wiped her palms, forehead, and soles of her feet. Then, he threw the towel into the basin and lifted her skirt. Only then did he see the shocking scars on her body. There was one that was especially deep. She had used gauze to cover it. Gu Lingqing's hands trembled as he removed the gauze. Because the wound had split open again, thinking that it had not fully healed, there was a large red circle around the wound, and the wound was close to the heart. Gu Lingqing's deep black eyes sparkled with tears. His heart felt as if it had been hit hard by something, and then it was pressed down. Chapter 209. No wonder she went to the entrance of the Second People's Hospital. Have you seen enough? Baya said coldly. She put down her dress and sat up. She looked at Gu Lingqing without any warmth. Don't you think it's not nice to expose my scar without my permission? How did you get hurt? Gu Lingqing asked worriedly. Baya got up from the bed and didn't even look at Gu Lingqing. You shouldn't be concerned about me. I have nothing to do with you now. Gu Lingqing stood behind her. Marriage is agreed upon by both of us. Didn't you discuss the divorce with me? We agreed before we got married. If I want a divorce, you can't object. I'm just fulfilling your promise. Baya took the diamond ring off her finger and returned it to Gu Lingqing. He took the ring and threw it out of the window. His eyes were red and he said with certainty, I won't get a divorce. We've already divorced. Baya told the truth cruelly. Gu Lingqing held her arm. I'm responsible for Zhou Hailan. She got hurt because of me. That's why she has a mental illness. Baya didn't want to mention the problem that they had talked about before. Then take care of her for the rest of her life, Baya said coldly. Gu Lingqing frowned helplessly. Can't you understand me? There are many women in the world who can understand you, tolerate you, support you, and take your decision as the sky. But I'm not one of them. You can hate me and blame me. But when you find out that I'm not the one you're looking for, you can abandon me, Baya said resolutely. Gu Lingqing's eyes turned cold. Am I not worthy of you waiting for me? Baya raised her head and looked at Gu Lingqing. She had had enough of a hopeless marriage. Holding on for one more day was hell. She was on the verge of breaking down. Everyone had the ability to protect themselves. Just take it as me being selfish. Gu Lingqing put his hand down. I know. Your injuries are quite serious. I'll take you to the hospital. No need. Gu Lingqing was completely enraged. No need, no need. Do you only have these 2 words for me? Baya, I'm telling you, I'm not getting a divorce. If you ask Su Jiran to revoke the registration records in the Civil Affairs Bureau, I can also pressure him to restore the records. You want a divorce? In your dreams. Cracks also appeared on Baya's calm face. I want a divorce. I want freedom. I don't want to be trapped in hopelessness anymore. Where was my husband on our wedding night? Do you think Zhou Hailan is sick and I'm not? Do you think I didn't faint when Zhou Hailan fainted and went to see the doctor? She fainted where you can see her, but I only fainted on the road. That's because you can't see me. Ask your heart. I don't know all these. You shouldn't blame me because I don't know. What's wrong with you? Gu Lingqing looked at Baya worriedly. Baya paused for a moment. Impulsiveness was the devil. It would make people angry and rush to their brain, causing them to lose control of their emotions. They would say things they shouldn't say when they're angry. She understood this logic, but she couldn't do it most of the time. Gu Lingqing, I'm very tired. Let me rest for a while. You can go and do what you need to do, Baya said softly. Gu Lingqing looked at Baya's pale face. Her gaze gradually softened. I won't force you to marry me, but you shouldn't force me to divorce either. Extreme methods aren't good for either of us. Okay, Baya replied. She really didn't have any strength left. You should rest for a while. I'll make you something to eat. Gu Lingqing lifted the blanket. Baya's heart ached. She lay down on the bed. Gu Lingqing covered her with the blanket. She didn't want to face Gu Lingqing, so she closed her eyes. Xiaoya, don't sleep yet. Your wound needs to be treated. Have you prepared the medicine? Gu Lingqing said softly. Baya opened her eyes. I've applied the medicine. Once in the morning and once at night. You can go now. Gu Lingqing went out. Not long after, he came back with a kettle and poured water into a cup. I'm not leaving. I'm in the kitchen. Call me if you need anything, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. He turned around and walked towards the door. Baya looked at his stalwart back view. She couldn't bear to see him go. She had heard about the story of Gu Lingqing and Zhou Hailan long ago. He was responsible for Zhou Hailan. It wasn't wrong. However, she did care about it. She didn't want to force him to give up his responsibility. So, she took the initiative to give up on him. But now that he didn't want to see Zhou Hailan because of her, it made her very sad. Women were contradictory creatures. At the same time, they were too soft-hearted and easily blinded by emotions. She had seen many cases. A young, beautiful, and kind female postgraduate saw an old man fall down. She helped him up. The old man said that she had come here to look for her son. She couldn't find him, so she wanted to go home. The female postgraduate sent the old man to a mountainous area. In the end, she was detained and became the wife of a man with an IQ. She was even forced to give birth to a disabled child. There was also a young, beautiful nurse who helped a pregnant woman go home. Unexpectedly, the pregnant woman was helping her husband hunt. In the end, the nurse was brutally killed by the couple. Kindness, compassion, and, most importantly, rationality and danger awareness were necessary. Baya closed her eyes. Her head was too heavy. She fell asleep. When she woke up again, it was already 10 o'clock at night. Her stomach was aching from hunger. She got up from the bed and opened the door to go out. Gu Lingqing was sitting on the sofa. He stood up when he saw her. Are you hungry? The food is ready. You can eat it after heating it up. Baiya nodded. Thank you. Gu Lingqing didn't like it when she said thank you to him. It sounded distant. He walked towards her and put the diamond ring back on her ring finger. Don't take it off first. I won't force you to get married. Let's get used to it for 3 months first and then decide if we want to be together. If you still don't want to be with me after 3 months, then I won't force you. Baiya looked at the diamond ring on her finger. The diamond shone under the light. She looked at Gu Lingqing rationally. With Gu Lingqing's authority, a military marriage couldn't be divorced. It might not be possible in the future. After all, marriage was a fact. It was only 3 months. Okay, Baiya replied. Go sit at the dining table first. I'll be done in a while. Gu Lingqing's tensed expression finally relaxed a little. He walked into the kitchen. He made mullet soup, carotene, tomatoes, and eggs. Mullet is used to heal wounds. Carotene and vitamin C will heal wounds, Gu Lingqing explained. Okay. He brought 2 bowls of rice, one for her and one for him. She glanced at him. Didn't he also not have dinner? Chapter 210. Baiya looked at Gu Lingqing. Her eyes were deep and distant. She lowered her head and continued eating. What's wrong? Gu Lingqing asked confusedly. When the child was born, he didn't grow up. I couldn't tell who he looked like, but his skin was very white, his eyelashes were very long, his mouth was small and he had double eyelids. When Baiya mentioned the child, there was finally a smile on her face. How did the child die? Gu Lingqing stared at her. I don't know. After I gave birth to him, he was taken away by a group of people. I don't know who they are and I can't find out who they are. I've been looking for him for more than 5 years, but he disappeared like a stone in the ocean. If he's still alive, he should be 5 years old by now, Baiya said sadly. Gu Lingqing's hope was ignited. So, you're not sure whether he's dead or not? Baiya didn't say anything and lowered her head to eat. Could it be your ex-husband who did it? Gu Lingqing guessed. Impossible. He didn't know that I didn't abort the child. He didn't even know about the existence of the child. I asked him to look for the child later on but he couldn't find it for more than 3 years, Baiya said with certainty. Nonsense. The child isn't your ex-husband's. What's the use of looking for him? Gu Lingqing frowned. Then look for him. If you find him, I'll marry you, Baiya said casually. She took a deep breath and realized that she had said the wrong thing. I'm joking. Gu Lingqing's eyes dimmed. Let's eat first. Gu Lingqing's phone rang. He saw that it was Zhou Hailan and hung up. The phone rang again. It was Zhou Hailan again. Answer it. I'll go with you to see her later, Baiya said calmly. She's in a bad state. Baiya curled her lips. It's fine if I don't go. That's not what I mean. Gu Lingqing hesitated and looked at Baiya. Are you afraid that I'll hurt her? Baiya guessed. Her condition is very unstable. She is easily frightened and will do things to hurt others. Don't go for now, Gu Lingqing explained. Baiya smiled. He was still afraid that she would hurt Zhou Hailan. She had already tried to help him. So be it. Her kindness was treated as ill intent. Go ahead. Otherwise, it would be bad if she hurt others, Baiya said with a smile. I'll come back later, Gu Lingqing promised. Baiya lowered his head and ate. She watched him leave from the corner of her eye. If every time she and her husband had a meal together, her husband would leave for another woman. Even if they shared the same bed, he would still leave for another woman. Then, if she still wanted to be with him, it would be too frustrating. Let's wait for 3 months. It won't take long. Even though she said so, she still felt uncomfortable and unhappy. She wanted to call Lu Shuang, but Lu Shuang had to work during the day. It was so late and he should be asleep. She still had to work tomorrow, so she did not call him. She went out of the military base, took a taxi and went to the nearest KTV. She booked a private room and sang. She sang old songs that everyone could sing. Things like, Happy Breakup, It's Always Quiet, It's Always Raining, and Orbit. How to Hide, My Sadness, The Place Where I Lost You. When I close my eyes, I can still see the traces of you leaving. I'll be in a daze, and then forget you, thinking that one day, someone will replace you. The tears in my heart have blurred the world. She sang and cried. She sang and cried until her tears broke the dam and she could no longer sing. She lowered her head and clenched her fists. Her shoulders were trembling. The door was pushed open. Baya looked up at the door in alarm. Su Jiran walked in. I know you're alone. I've always been alone too. I'm here to accompany you. Baya cried even harder. She did not want to think about anything. She just wanted to cry to her heart's content. She was afraid that if she thought too much, her thoughts would become chaotic again. Su Jiran sat next to her and placed his hand on her shoulder. Baya pushed him away. Even if I'm sad, even if I'm sad, even if I'm in despair, I don't want to casually start an ambiguous relationship. Tears flowed out of Su Jiran's left eye. Baya was slightly shocked. I'm not casually starting an ambiguous relationship with you. I just want to give you the warmth that I can give. Do you think that your warmth is what I want? Baya was emotional. Whether you want it or not is your business. Whether you give it or not is my business. You can reject me. You can keep rejecting me, just like how I rejected you in the past. Baya, do you know the real reason why I didn't touch you in the 3 years we were married? Baya turned her face away. There were too many tears and they had already covered her vision. She wiped away her tears handsomely, but they still flowed out. Because your father killed my father. I knew that one day, the flames of my vengeance would burn you. From the first time I saw you, I liked you. Because I liked you, I didn't dare to get close to you. I was afraid that it would ruin my determination. But in the end, it ruined my vengeance. I'm willing. I was willing to give up everything for you. Su Jiran. Baya raised her voice. Do you think that 3 years has diluted my memory and made me forget the pain I felt when I was with you? It's a fact that you hurt me, slept with other women, forced yourself on me, and almost killed me. Although I'm not smart, I'm not forgetful. That's because I added my hatred to you. I'm sorry, Baya. I'm sorry. I won't do it again. I've already received my punishment. Seeing you cry, my heart hurts. Seeing you commit suicide, my heart that was in pain died too. I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you very much. Su Jiran said emotionally. Okay, you love me very much, right? Baya took out a fruit knife from her bag and threw it in front of him. I castrated myself and stayed by your side. I'll accompany you for the rest of my life. What I want has never been sex. I want to be with you forever. Can you do that? Baya said impulsively. Okay, you said it. Su Jiran picked up the knife and cut towards his abdomen. Baya closed her eyes and blocked his hand. The sharp knife pierced into her arm. Baya. Su Jiran shouted guiltily. Baya smiled. Her red and swollen eyes were flowing with tears. I'm going crazy again, Su Jiran. I'm like my mother. I'm mentally ill. Su Jiran looked at Baya in surprise. Tears flowed down her pale face. I'll send you to the hospital, Su Jiran said with heartache. I want to leave. I haven't adjusted myself. I want to go back to America, Baya said while crying. Okay, you can go anywhere you want. I'll accompany you. Even if it's hell, I'll go with you. Su Jiran held the wound on Baya's arm tightly. Blood stained his palm. Baya stood up in a daze. Her eyes turned black and she fainted. Chapter 211. Baya opened her eyes and saw the luxurious crystal chandelier. The crystal chandelier reflected the sunlight outside. It was already dawn. Her emotions were much calmer than last night. When melatonin accumulated in the body, it would make people irritable, angry, depressed, paranoid and depressed. She still had serotonin in her body yesterday, so she was angry and impulsive. Fortunately, these would disappear with the metabolism. So, when she woke up, she would be much more rational. She sat up from the bed. The wounds on her body were bandaged when she was unconscious. Baya got down from the bed and opened the door. Su Jiran was sitting in front of the computer. When he saw her coming out, he immediately stood up and explained, "You fainted yesterday and have a fever of 41 degrees. It's better for you to rest now. I'll get someone to take a look at you." "Thank you. It's okay, I feel much better now." Baya rejected his kindness and glanced around her room. "Where did you put my bag?" "I was in a hurry to send you to the hospital yesterday, so I didn't pay attention. I sent someone to get it this morning and they said that someone took it. I think it was Gu Lingqing. It should be easy for him to find you through your phone's GPS, Su Jiran guessed." Baya lowered her eyes. Her long eyelashes left a black silhouette under her eyes. While she was in a daze, Su Jiran walked to Baya and said gently, "Xiaoya, don't you want to go back to America? I'll transfer my company so that I can stay with you. I was drunk yesterday and I was talking nonsense." "Don't take it seriously," Baya said calmly. "Then are you going to watch Gu Lingqing and Zhou Hailan hurt you? Do you think you're not broken enough?" Su Jiran said impulsively and held Baya's hand. "Gu Lingqing has Zhou Hailan in his heart. I only have you in my heart. Who you have in your heart has nothing to do with me. I just want to know who I have in my heart and who is left. Do you have a disposable toothbrush? If it's convenient, send me back to the military," Baya said coldly. "I really don't understand you. You know it's purgatory, why do you still want to go there? Aren't you afraid of seeing Gu Lingqing and Zhou Hailan together?" Su Jiran said with a frown. "I am a woman who climbed out of the grave of marriage. What am I afraid of?" Baya twitched the corner of his mouth and said sarcastically, "Perhaps, if you decide to forget and stop loving, you should experience being hurt to the point where you can't recover, just like how I walked out of your cage. Aren't you being cheap?" Su Jiran was furious. He stared at Baya. "Slut." Baya's eyes became misty, but her thoughts were clear. "Do you think I don't want to forget him? Do you think I don't want to break free? When reason goes against my heart, I will feel pain in my heart. When my heart is in pain, reason will compromise because the feeling of pain is simply worse than death. Life is worse than death. I don't want to live such a painful life anymore. I want my heart to wake up completely, and the person who can wake my heart up can only be Gu Lingqing." "Baya, are you really crazy? Do you know what you are talking about?" Su Jiran was not calm. He didn't agree with Baya's point of view, and he didn't want Baya to go to Gu Lingqing's side. He was afraid that Baya would stay by Gu Lingqing's side with all her heart. If that happened, he would be left alone in this world. The word, crazy, touched Baya's sensitive nerve. Was she really crazy? She didn't know, but she now fully understood her mother's mentality when she became crazy. They would rather be called crazy by the world than be considered a complete fool. So, her mother would rather lock herself in her memories than go to Xing Batian for help. "I am an independent person. I am responsible for my own actions. If you don't have a toothbrush and you don't want to give it to me, I can solve it myself." Baya walked towards the door. Su Jiran held her arm and almost used a pleading tone. Can't you give me another chance? I know I was wrong. I won't look for another woman in the future. You promised, as long as I castrate myself, you are willing to stay by my side for the rest of your life. I love you, Xiaoya. I want to take care of you and have our child. I won't let you be sad anymore. When you are sick, I will accompany you. When you are lonely, I will accompany you. Wherever you want to go, I will accompany you. I won't let anyone hurt you anymore. Tears, along with her cheeks, flowed down. 3 years ago, when she was still married, she was not prepared to accept Gu Lingqing. If he had said these words in the state of their marriage at that time, perhaps she and Gu Lingqing wouldn't have the things that happened later. But what did Su Jiran give her? Sarcasm, hurt, use of her friend to threaten, hysterical destruction. I remember telling you before that my heart is very small. When I have you, there won't be Gu Lingqing. Now, when I have Gu Lingqing, there won't be you, Baya said with certainty. Su Jiran wiped the tears off Baya's face. Then I will wait until you don't have Gu Lingqing in your heart. I know that it will be harder for me to enter your heart than ordinary people, but I will persist. Baya pushed his hand away and turned her face away. Just like when Su Jiran played with other women, she did not want to humiliate herself. Even if Gu Lingqing had Zhou Hailan in his heart, she would not casually use other men to have an ambiguous relationship with many problems. Ning Ke should not look at her. I'm leaving. You don't need to see me off. Baya quickly walked out of the door and walked on the unfamiliar road. Right now, she was really in a sorry state. No money, no mobile phone, unkempt hair, dirty face, and teeth not brushed. She was still wearing the wrinkled clothes from yesterday. She did not take a bath, and all kinds of unpleasant smells mixed together. People around her looked at her strangely. She could ignore them and looked at the blue sky. She did not want much. She just wanted a home. No matter where she was, there would always be a destination that she wanted to return to. Her husband didn't need to be powerful, rich, or handsome. He just needed to be able to talk to her and make her feel comfortable and at ease. When she was sleeping, she opened her eyes and realized that she wasn't alone. She could find him, right? Several cars stopped in front of her. Gu Lingqing got out of the car and walked quickly to her. Where did you go last night? I was worried about you. Chapter 212. I went out to sing. Baya said lightly and lowered her eyes. Her long eyelashes were like ink fans, covering the top of her eyelids. Gu Lingqing held Baya's hand. Her hand was as cold as ice. He tightened his grip. I went to the KTV to look for you. You weren't there, but your bag and phone were still there. With Chief Gu's ability, how could you not know where I am? Baya asked in return. The corners of her mouth curled up. Her eyes were gentle, but there was no smile in them. She looked very strange. Gu Lingqing frowned. He really couldn't find her. He had located her phone, but the electronic eye seemed to be broken. He couldn't find her trace. After searching for a night, he finally found her location and rushed over immediately. But he guessed that the only person who could block the electronic eye was Su Jiran. His eyes were bloodshot. He had always been calm and collected. He didn't show his emotions on his face, but there was a surge of anger in his body. The flame burned away most of his rationality. What do you want? Are you with Su Jiran to anger me or to take revenge on me? Is there any meaning in doing this? Baya's eyes flickered and she swallowed her bitterness. She had fainted yesterday. Otherwise, she wouldn't have left with Su Jiran. If he thought that she was taking revenge, so be it. Indeed, it's very boring. Give me my bag and phone. I won't go to the military for the time being. I'll take a day off today. Baya wanted to calm herself down. You can take a week off. Gu Lingqing turned around and got into the car. Her bag was thrown out of the window. It was as if a knife had pierced her heart. She was an excellent psychologist. She knew that Gu Lingqing's action was because of anger and disgust. The two of them had been together for a long time, but they became more unforgiving. They were unforgiving because they didn't cherish it. They didn't cherish it because they had found someone they wanted to cherish more. Her complaints, anger, sharpness were a double-edged sword. Stabbing other people's colleagues would also stab herself. Everyone would avoid her when she was holding a sword. Everyone was afraid of being hurt. Baya picked up the bag, opened it, and took out the medicine bottle. Her hands were trembling, and without water, she took one pill. His unstable emotions gradually calmed down. She booked a room in a nearby hotel, took a shower, and applied medicine on herself. After bandaging her wound, she lay on the bed and stared at the ceiling in a daze. Most male chauvinist men liked women who were obedient. They liked women to rely on, act coquettishly, and satisfy their male self-esteem. The woman in their dreams had long hair fluttering in the wind. She walked like a willow. She was gentle, affectionate, and considerate. She needed their protection. However, because of the influence of male chauvinism, they didn't like it when women around them asked them things they didn't want to say and interfered with their lives, especially when they questioned their relationship with women. They would feel annoyed and even hate it over time. Gu Lingqing was a male chauvinist. She couldn't be obedient, nor would she act coquettishly. She didn't want to rely on him. She wouldn't beg for mercy when he walked away. Perhaps, they were not compatible in terms of personality. Baya rested for a while to stop herself from thinking too much. She went to the shopping center to buy 2 sets of expensive clothes and a set of makeup. When no one loved her, she had to love herself even more. Baya changed her clothes. It was a strapless dress with a white top and black bottom. She tied her hair up and put on exquisite makeup. She looked dignified and noble, but also playful and bright. She went to the nursing home and secretly looked at Bai Bing. Bai Bing was reading a book. She had recovered well and her complexion had become very good. Her eyes were no longer blurry, but there was the bright light of a Tao crystal. She was immersed in the fantasy of making herself more beautiful. She couldn't appear. As soon as she appeared, Bai Bing would ask her about seeing Xing Bachuan. If she was disappointed once, twice, or thrice, she would fall short of success. She could only give it a shot and see Bai Bing change. Bai Ya's phone rang. She looked at a series of numbers, hesitated for a moment, then answered and walked out of the door. "Hello, do you still remember who I am?" The man's mellow voice came from the phone. Bai Ya's memory was quite good. He was the man she had casually called, answered, and told each other what was on her mind. "I remember." "What's wrong?" Baya asked politely. "I'm in City A and I want to see you," the man said directly. Baya twitched the corner of her mouth and refused. "Meeting is not as good as reminiscing. Don't misunderstand. After your advice last time, my situation has improved a lot. This time, I brought a friend here. My friend's son has a big problem," he said sincerely. "My fee is not low. 10,000 an hour. Not to mention 10,000, as long as you can cure his son, he will pay you even 1,000,000. Baya was silent for a moment. Love was gone, but her career was still important. The more decadent she was, the more she was looked down upon and abandoned, the more she wanted to live a better life. "I'll see you in an hour at Xianla Cafe in Water Moon International," Baya said and hung up the phone. When she was about to reach Water Moon International, her text message rang. "Alyssa's private room," the man left a message. Baya put away her phone, got out of the car, went into Xianla Cafe, found Alyssa's private room, and knocked on the door. "Come in." The man's deep voice sounded. Baya pushed the door open. There was only one man in the private room. He was wearing a light blue vest with a white shirt inside. He had a slightly delicate face and curly hair. He was very handsome, in line with the aesthetic standards of 1990 and 1990. He was also wearing light and elegant men's cologne. His lips were red and his teeth were white. He looked young, which did not match the age his voice conveyed. Baya sat opposite him. His eyes were still lingering on her face. I didn't expect you to be so beautiful. Baya tapped the table lightly, without his warmth, calmness, self-control, and depth. Where is your friend? He went out to buy a pack of cigarettes and will come back 10 minutes later. You came earlier than I expected. I'm Ching Jinrong, what's your name? Ching Jinrong asked. She did not want to be friends with him. Tell me about your friend's child. Baya took out a pen and a notebook from her bag. Ching Jinrong laughed. You're always so cold to people. There's no need to be warm. Why give people the wrong information and worry about nothing? Baya said seriously. I'm very curious. There are people who don't cherish such a beautiful and mature woman like you. Ching Jinrong said pitifully. Baya's lips twitched. Roses may look beautiful, but they will be pricked when you pick them. They will wither after a few days of forcefully picking them. Isn't it normal to not cherish a withered flower? If you want to know more about my privacy, then I'm sorry, I'll leave first. Baya put the notebook and pen into her bag and stood up. Ching Jinrong stood up too. He was very tall, probably 1.9 meters. If I said something wrong, I'll apologize. I won't ask. I really brought my friend here for something. Just as he finished speaking, the door of the private room was pushed open. Baya looked at the person and paused. Chapter 213. She always had an unfulfilled wish. Back then, in order to be with Gu Lingqing, she went to Tangxian village to investigate Governor Cheng's murder and caused Tang Xiaojiu's death. Before Tang Xiaojiu died, he gave her the evidence. She promised to help Tang Xiaojiu fulfill his unfulfilled wish and promised that if she didn't find the murderer and bring him to justice, she and Gu Lingqing couldn't be together. Now, she and Gu Lingqing weren't together because she broke her promise. She carried the lives of an entire village on her back. Who was the person in front of her? LV Xingzhou. Back then, she found the two most suspicious people. One was Luoyang City and the other was LV Xingzhou. Luoyang City and LV Xingzhou had a good relationship. Luoyang City was promoted by LV Xingzhou. When he was the mayor of Jinyang City, LV Xingzhou was already the deputy secretary of the state. At that time, in order to investigate Luoyang City and Jinyang City, she even passed the Discipline Inspection Institute and became an exchange supervisor. She used her connections to enter the Jinyang City Procuratorate. At that time, Gu Lingqing also intervened. Originally, they could have worked together to complete this mission. But later, Gu Lingqing lost his memory and she was heartbroken. Since she wasn't as capable as Gu Lingqing, she couldn't achieve immediate results, so she left country A. She didn't expect to meet Luoyang City's superior, LV Xingzhou, in such a way. Hello. LV Xingzhou reached out his hand. He looked very serious and unapproachable. Hello. Baya also shook hands with him in a businesslike manner. I heard from Jinrong that you're very good at psychology. After your guidance, his temper has improved a lot and his mentality has become clearer. LV Xingzhou looked at Baya suspiciously. It's not bad. My surname is Baya. If you have friends in America who specialize in psychology, you should know me. Baya smiled. Ching Jinrong stood up. Don't stand and talk. We're all friends. Have a seat. Baya glanced at Ching Jinrong. Ching Jinrong smiled. His smile was sincere. Baya lowered her eyes and sat down. She tapped her fingers on the table gently and said, Tell me about your child. Let's talk about the situation first. I hope to sign an agreement with Madam Bai. The agreement will state the payment details. However, I want it to be strictly confidential. If even the slightest bit of information leaks out from here, you will have to pay me $1 million. LV Xingzhou demanded an exorbitant price. It is my professional ethics as a doctor not to expose the patient's condition. More than 1 or 2 people know about your son's condition. How can you guarantee that the news was not spread by them but by me? I'm sorry, if you don't trust me, you don't have to start the treatment. Bai Ye stood up. Of course, Secretary Louis doesn't mean that. We believe you can keep it a secret. You are a bit impatient. Qing Jinrong said the second half of the sentence gently. Bai Ye was just playing mind games. She was LV Xingzhou. She would definitely accept this task. Bai Ye returned to her chair and looked at LV Xingzhou with a firm and steady gaze. Secretary LV, to you, your son's illness is a family scandal, but to me, whether the patient's information is disclosed or not is related to my career. If I were a doctor who casually disclosed the patient's information, if I was a doctor who casually disclosed the patient's condition, would there still be people coming to me for treatment? So, your worries are unnecessary. LV Xingzhou hesitated. Why don't you come to me after you've thought it through? Don't suspect the people you use, don't use the people you doubt. Bai Ye said calmly. LV Xingzhou sighed and said, my son is not only a voyeur. He also has a habit of stealing clothes. A few days ago, it even happened. LV Xingzhou did not continue. Bai Ye smiled and said with certainty, the rape incident. LV Xingzhou furrowed his brows, a strange awkwardness on his face. Luckily, that family was still reasonable, but I'm worried that similar things will happen again in the future. I can settle it once, twice, or even thrice, but if you walk by the river often, how can you not get your shoes wet? There will always be exceptions, out of 100 people. Out of 100 people, as long as one of them is exposed, my son will be finished. Voyeur, stealing clothes to rape is a process of him probing. If you had stopped him when he was just peeping, he wouldn't have gone to stealing clothes. He made a mistake, and you spent money to settle it. He would only think that my father can settle it with money. So, there will definitely be a second time. This rape incident might even turn into murder, Bai Ye said coldly. Can you save him? My son is still young. I think he can be corrected. Oh right, I even introduced a girlfriend to him before. He already has a girlfriend. How could he still do such a thing? LV Xingzhou was disappointed. There are many reasons for psychological abnormalities. The most common is the influence of the environment and the internet. Changing some hobbies can't be done in a day. It requires long-term planning and to let him put his mind into other hobbies. Carry out reasonable guidance. Don't forcefully lock him up, it will backfire, Bai Ye said clearly. LV Xingzhou's face turned ugly. He's locked up at home now. How old is he? Bai Ye asked. 18. He's currently in his 2nd year of high school. Previously, a classmate told me that he likes the campus belle of their school. I'm worried that he will do something wrong, so I haven't let him go to school this semester, LV Xingzhou said irritably. He can watch the person, but he can't watch the heart. Have you hired a tutor? I've hired one, but he's a mess. I've hired many tutors, but no one is willing to teach him. Because of him, many strands of my hair have turned white. He's my only son. I don't know what to do. LV Xingzhou was very dispirited. Bai Ye squinted her eyes and looked at LV Xingzhou. Humans are really strange creatures. They are complicated and contradictory. Some people kill people madly, but are very filial to their parents. Some people are stingy, but can donate all their savings in one go. LV Xingzhou loved his own child so much, but did not have any pity for other people's children. That's why he massacred an entire village in one night. I will temporarily go to your house to treat your son as a home tutor. The treatment period will be 3 months. I will be there from Monday to Friday, from 8 in the morning to 16 in the afternoon, 8 hours a day. The fee will be 80,000 yuan a day. There are 22 days in a month, 76 million yuan. I request that you pay me in advance as a deposit when you sign the contract. After a month, if you feel that I can't do it, the agreement will be terminated. If you feel that I can do it, the second month's fee will also have to be paid in advance. I promise to look after him for 3 months. Otherwise, I will only charge you for 2 months. In addition, I request that you do as I say. If you don't do as I say, the agreement will be terminated immediately. How about it? Baya said in a businesslike tone. You promise to look after him for 3 months? Even if you can't look after him, you've already taken more than 3 million. I promise. Baya said confidently, think carefully before you call me. I have something to do, so I'll be leaving first. Chapter 214. Baya saw him and was slightly stunned. Didn't he swagger off in the morning? Didn't he say that it would be fine even if she took a week off? He even threw her bag out. Now, what did he mean by appearing in front of her? Is the chief free? Baya said bluntly. His eyes were sharp, as if there were countless thorns. When he opened his mouth, it made people feel uncomfortable. Gu Lingqing looked at her with a profound gaze. His ink-black eyes reflected the 2 tiny versions of her. He remained silent. Baya suddenly felt bored. The fire she released fell on the glacier, and what was left was still ice. She also became silent. The 2 of them stood face to face, and the atmosphere was extremely awkward. Are you still angry? Finally, Gu Lingqing asked in a gentle tone. He was actually very angry at that time. He left directly, but he didn't return to the military. He had located her cell phone, so he knew that she had gone to the hotel, and he knew that she had gone to the nursing home. When he knew that she went to the cafe, he couldn't sit still and drove over to wait for her at the door. Baya looked down. She used the period of silence just now to calm down. Being angry couldn't solve the problem. Being angry would also produce toxins to hurt herself. There was no need. You came at the right time. I accepted a project and need to go on a business trip for about 3 months. Baya went straight to the topic. Gu Lingqing frowned. His chest was moving up and down violently, and his breathing was not stable. Do you think I will agree? If the matter in the military is urgent, I can ask Mu Shaoxing to send someone else over. It won't delay your business. Gu Lingqing's eyes narrowed, and he said fiercely, I said that I want you. The people in the research institute are also professionals in psychological tests. Their ability is no less than mine. I'm doing voluntary work here. It's my own patient. It's related to my career and money. You can't force me. Baya tried his best to match his mood. I can also pay you. I'll give you as much as you want. I won't give you less than they do, Gu Lingqing said domineeringly. Baya was also a little annoyed. She frowned. Is there no room for discussion? What do you think? You only gave me 3 months. Once you go out, the 3 months are gone. Baya, you are not fair to me. Gu Lingqing said rationally. She could see through all her thoughts. I'm unfair to you, but have you ever been fair to me? Baya recalled what he had said in the past 2 days. Her brain was suddenly congested, and there was no room for her to think. She only felt very irritated. Am I so unfair to you? Gu Lingqing stared at her. She didn't want to keep complaining like a resentful wife. Gu Lingqing, I'm telling you from a professional standpoint of psychology that our personalities are not compatible. Since it's meaningless to be together, why should we force it? Baya said firmly and coldly. Every word she said was like a knife to him. He was also angry. The rationality that he had been holding back was thrown to the back of his mind. His eyes were burning with a raging fire. He said angrily, I can't be like you. 1 second, you're passionate, and the next second, you're as cold as ice. I told you that I have a responsibility to Zhou Hailan, but you just have to force me to choose between you and her. Must I be so stubborn, cold, and resolute to choose between you and her? What he said made her feel that she was cold, resolute, unsympathetic, and unforgiving. She remembered that he had said before that Gu Lingqing would not like a cold woman like her. She remembered that he had said before that Gu Lingqing would not like a cold woman like her. What he liked was fresh, lively, cute, and full of vitality. Sorry, she couldn't do it at all. She had lived in a gloomy, dark, and heartless world since she was young. She was not forcing him to choose between her and Zhou Hailan. Instead, she chose to give up on her own initiative. Bai Ye's eyes were completely cold. There was no longer a trace of warmth in them. She had made up her mind to leave and start a new life. She would no longer be reluctant to leave a person that she didn't understand, didn't appreciate, and didn't like her. Then what do you want me to do? Bai Ye asked, staring straight at Gu Lingqing. Leave everything to me. I'll definitely handle it well. I said that I'll marry you, so I'll marry you. I won't go back on my words. Just wait for me patiently. Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice. I'll be away for 3 months this time. It doesn't count in the 3 months that we agreed on. After I come back, you still have 3 months. A total of half a year. Is that enough? Bai Ye negotiated. Gu Lingqing felt her heartlessness. His emotions also turned cold, and he stared at her. Whether there was love between them or not, he couldn't tell. Your patience with me is only half a year. Gu Lingqing asked back. He looked at her sharply, and his tone was full of questioning. Bai Ye's heart ached slightly. It's not too late for you to find out that I'm not a man. Gu Lingqing, you'll find more weaknesses in me in the future. Until one day you find out that I'm not the person you like. At that time, will you force yourself to be with me in pain? Or will you cut off the source of the pain? Before you completely understand what kind of person I am, don't make a decision easily, and don't force me to be sincere. You still don't understand me. You don't have the right to make me give up everything. Bai Ye said sharply. She was very clear that what she said was like a sharp sword that could cut off all the feelings between them. However, she had been hurt enough. Now, she was like a hedgehog. She wouldn't give herself away casually anymore. Let's go back to the military area first. Gu Lingqing didn't reply directly. Bai Ye thought that her luggage was still with him, so she didn't refuse. She got into his car. Lieutenant Colonel Song drove the car. The muscles on Gu Lingqing's face were tense, and his eyes were dark, as if he was thinking about something. Bai Ye looked out of the window. She loved to read magazines a long time ago. Some magazines had the enlightenment of a young girl's heart, and some magazines seemed to be the precipitation after experiencing the vicissitudes of life. She remembered one of the stories, which went like this: after a beautiful and elegant woman married her husband, she stopped putting on makeup and no longer paid attention to her clothes. She spent all her time in the kitchen, living room, and children. Finally, one day, the husband was tired of the old woman at home and found a third son. The woman divorced decisively, began to put on makeup, and began to pick up the luxurious clothes that had been thrown away. At a business party, the husband met his ex-wife. She was dazzling, with her own sparkle, calm and elegant, like a goddess accompanying her new husband, talking leisurely and charming. Chapter 215. If a man treated a woman as a goddess, the woman would become a goddess. If a man treated a woman as a faded old woman, the woman would become a faded old woman. And she, beside Gu Lingqing, seemed to become sharper and sharper, harder and harder to talk to, and harsher and harsher. In the past, she hated harsh words, sharpness, indifference, and darkness. In fact, she had become what she hated the most now. She couldn't go on like this. Baya closed her eyes and leaned against the back of the chair to rest. Gu Lingqing glanced at her. Her eyelashes trembled slightly, and she didn't sleep well. He felt very distressed, and his breathing became heavy, falling on her face. Baya opened her eyes and caught his gaze on her. "What's wrong?" Baya asked lazily. "Is your wound better?" Gu Lingqing asked deeply. His tone was calm and much gentler than before. "It's better. It should have formed a scar. It won't take long for it to recover completely," Baya said faintly. She also said it to herself. Time would definitely heal her scar, so that she wouldn't feel pain anymore. "Do you really want to go on a business trip for 3 months?" Gu Lingqing compromised. "I want to take this patient," Baya said with certainty. "When will you go?" "I don't know yet. I'm waiting for the notification." "Don't not come back," Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Baya felt a little sad. Maybe, she really wouldn't come back. There were many variables in 3 months. She didn't want to make a promise easily, so she didn't say anything. Gu Lingqing understood her unspoken words. His heart was very tight, and his breathing became thin. He held her hand tightly. His hand was firm and full of warmth like the sun. "It's my fault that I went out on our wedding night. I didn't know that you were also injured. There have been a lot of things recently, and I can't control my emotions well. I'll be angry at you." Gu Lingqing paused for a while. He didn't want to cover up his mistake, nor did he want to avoid responsibility. "I've thought about it seriously. I want to marry you," Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice. Baya's lips curled up slightly, looking calm and serene. "You want to marry me because you're stronger than me, and because we have a child, so you feel responsible for me. Perhaps, it's also because you proposed to me before Zhou Hailan. Gu Lingqing, you are a very special person. A person with a sense of responsibility. This kind of person will make you have great achievements, but will also make your life more difficult than others. I want to marry you because I like you," Gu Lingqing said in a low voice, directly responding to the relationship between them. Baya paused slightly. His words were simple and unpretentious, but her heart was in turmoil. Should she trust him? Was he only responsible for Zhou Hailan? How could she tolerate him taking care of other women all the time? Baya turned her face away and looked out of the window. Her heart and mind were in a mess. She had to think about it carefully. Gu Lingqing also looked out of the window. He hadn't slept for a few nights, and he was very tired. However, he held her hand and didn't let go. The two of them didn't speak again. When the car arrived at the military base, Gu Lingqing was already asleep. He opened his eyes suddenly and looked at Baya anxiously. She was still there, asleep. Her eyes were closed, and her head was leaning against the window. She looked lonely. His heart ached as he took off his suit jacket and draped it over her body. Baya woke up too. She stretched her neck and looked out of the window. "We're here. You can sleep a little more when we get back. You look very tired." Gu Lingqing touched her face gently. Baya looked down. She didn't agree, but she didn't reject him either. The car went in and stopped at Gu Lingqing's courtyard. The orderly ran over and opened the back door. Gu Lingqing got out of the car. Baya came out from the other side. "Ah Qing, you're finally back." Zhou Hailan smiled sweetly and ran towards Gu Lingqing. She hugged Gu Lingqing's waist. "Uncle Gu said that you've already settled the procedures to pick me up. I don't have to go back to the cold laboratory alone anymore, right?" Gu Lingqing looked at Zhou Hailan deeply. He pursed his lips and maintained an unchanging expression. He didn't say a word. Baya lowered her eyes and looked at the two people who were hugging each other. The man was handsome and the woman was beautiful. It was like a beautiful picture. The picture was too beautiful. She didn't dare to look at it. She quietly moved her eyes away and looked at the entrance of Gu Lingqing's apartment. Song Shiyu and Gu Tianhang stood there, like gods looking down at her hunched back. Baya blinked. Her heart hurt so much that it didn't feel like it was hers. For more than 3 years, she had been wronged by Xiong Daini. Fortunately, she didn't have a father-in-law. Now, she would suffer even more grievances at the hands of Gu Lingqing's parents. At least, Xiong Daini only looked down on her and didn't bring other women to his son. But Gu Lingqing's parents did. Baya took a deep breath and didn't want to struggle anymore. She looked at Gu Lingqing. I'll go get my luggage. Chief Gu, please send someone to send me out later. Gu Lingqing clenched his fists and looked at her. His chin was tight. Baya smiled. He didn't ask her to stay. In fact, this was the love triangle. When men were hesitant, the one who looked strong and independent was always the one who got hurt. He felt that the soft one couldn't leave him, while the strong one didn't seem to need him. Since he was strong, he had to hold on no matter what. Because even if he fell, no one would thank him. Baya walked straight into Gu Lingqing's room. She didn't even look at Song Shiyu and Gu Tianhang. Song Shiyu followed her in and said behind Baya, I told you long ago that Lingqing loves someone else. Why do you have to humiliate yourself? Now that Lan is back, don't ruin them. Baya felt as if she had been slapped in the face many times. When she was facing Song Shiyu, she was so righteous and high-spirited. Now, she was like a clown being toyed with by them. Apart from being humiliated, embarrassed, and humiliated, she also felt humiliated. And these were all caused by Gu Lingqing. She could only pretend that she didn't hear anything. She opened her suitcase and made sure that her luggage was inside. Then, she zipped it up and stood up. Song Shiyu was infuriated by her arrogance. She stood in front of Baya and said, Didn't you hear what I said? Or are you putting on airs? Madam Gu, I want to leave now. Are you standing in front of me because you can't bear to leave me? Why don't I stay here tonight? Baya said coldly. Don't be a bad woman, Song Shiyu said in a low voice and stood at the side. Baya pulled her suitcase out. Chapter 2:16. She didn't want to look at him again and walked towards the guard coldly. She didn't know how she walked out of Gu Lingqing's place. She only knew that she walked quickly and straightened her back. She tried not to look too embarrassed. Even if she lost love and heart, she didn't want to lose her dignity. A car stopped beside her. Lieutenant Colonel Song lowered the window. The chief asked me to send you away. She didn't want to stay here for a moment. She opened the back door and put her luggage in. She sat beside the luggage and closed her eyes. She leaned against the seat and said, Go to Shuiyu International. Call me when you get there. Okay, Lieutenant Colonel Song replied and drove away. Gu Lingqing stood by the window and watched Baya get into the car. His eyes were as dark as ink. His phone rang. It was a series of numbers. He remembered that it was the chief of the Civil Affairs Bureau. He picked up the call gloomily. What's the matter? Gu Lingqing asked coldly. Chief, your and your wife's marriage certificate has been restored. When are you free? Come and get it, the chief said nervously. Didn't you say that we need 2 people to take a new photo? Gu Lingqing was surprised. He couldn't suppress the excitement in his eyes. It was like that. All your information is gone, but one of my colleagues made a copy of your and your wife's photo. She thought that you two are too good-looking. I'm sorry, the chief apologized. With the photo, he could ignore the employee's mistake. Has the information been recorded into the computer? My colleague thought that you two were celebrities. She even secretly made a copy of your household register. I will definitely punish her. Your information has been recorded. You are now a legal husband and wife. You can check it online, the chief explained. Gu Lingqing's brows furrowed as he stared ahead. The image of her resolute departure flashed across his mind. He wanted to be with her. Send the marriage certificate to the military base now. Call me when you reach the gate. As soon as Gu Lingqing hung up, the door was pushed open by Zhou Hailan. She smiled brightly and shouted excitedly, Ah Qing, didn't I already have the title of lieutenant colonel? Uncle told me to come to the special military region to be an instructor for the new recruits. I think it's a good idea to start adapting to the position of an assistant instructor, but he wants to ask for your opinion. What do you think? He didn't think much of it. Looking at her gloved hands, he frowned and said, the training in the special forces is extremely strict. Most of the time, the instructor has to accompany you outside, whether it's rain or scorching sun. Your body hasn't recovered yet, so this kind of intense training isn't suitable for you. I'll arrange a clerical job for you first. Is the civilian position in your special forces? Zhou Hailan asked. I'll make arrangements based on the situation. This meant that he might not be in the special forces. It's okay, I can persist. I want to be with you. If I can't even overcome this little difficulty, how can I overcome bigger difficulties? Ah Qing, just promise me. I can endure any hardship. Zhou Hailan shook Gu Lingqing's hands and said coquettishly. Gu Lingqing's eyes deepened. Are you sure you can overcome all the difficulties? I can, Zhou Hailan said firmly. I'll arrange for you to live with the new recruits, is that okay? Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice. I can live here with you. It's very spacious here. My place is spacious and quiet. I even have an orderly to serve you. But as the instructor of the special forces, do you think it's appropriate for you to live comfortably? Zhou Hailan paused. Then let me be your orderly. I'll take care of you. Anyway, no matter what you arrange, I just want to be with you. Hailan, you've been a soldier before. I'm a senior officer. I can't let you stay here. Go out. I need to change. Ha! Zhou Hailan laughed like a silver bell. You're already 33 this year. You're still as shy as when you were 23. I'm your girlfriend. Why can't I see you? Hailan, I'm married, Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice. Zhou Hailan looked at Gu Lingqing in disbelief. How is that possible? How can you be married? If you're married, where's your wife? If you're married, why would uncle and auntie matchmake us? I've never heard that you're married. Ah Qing, don't make such a joke. I don't like it. My heart can't take it. I'm not joking. You're free now. You won't be locked up again. If you want to continue your life as a soldier, I can help you get used to the military. If you want a comfortable life, I can arrange it, Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice. Zhou Hailan shivered. He looked down and his eyes were empty. He mumbled to himself, Ah Qing likes me. Ah Qing only likes me. Ah Qing will marry me. Ah Qing will marry me. Ah Qing isn't a heartless person. I'm going to find Ah Qing. Zhou Hailan, Gu Lingqing shouted. Zhou Hailan didn't seem to see Gu Lingqing. He walked out and saw Song Shiyu. He went forward and asked, Hello, have you seen Ah Qing? His name is Gu Lingqing. He's tall and handsome. He's in the special forces. He's Gu Lingqing who will become a general one day. Song Shiyu looked at Gu Lingqing who was behind Zhou Hailan. Zhou Hailan followed Song Shiyu's gaze and looked at Gu Lingqing. She ran over and shouted, Brother, have you seen Ah Qing? He's tall and about 185 meters. He's very handsome. He's an outstanding special forces soldier and also my boyfriend. I can't find him. Gu Lingqing frowned and looked deeply at Zhou Hailan who had gone crazy again. Lingqing, what's going on with Hailan? Song Shiyu asked in confusion. Lingqing. You're Ah Qing. Why do you pretend that you don't know me? You saw that I was burned in the fire. Don't you want me anymore? Zhou Hailan held Gu Lingqing's arm. Big drops of tears rolled down her face. If you don't want me, I don't want to live anymore. What's the point of living? She said and ran towards the wall. Gu Lingqing held her back. Zhou Hailan fell into Gu Lingqing's arms because of the force. She sobbed and begged, "Ah Qing, don't leave me. I only have you. Without you, I really don't have any meaning to live." Gu Lingqing looked forward. "I'll ask someone to send you back to rest. You're too tired. You need to rest." "I'm not tired. I want to stay here with you." Zhou Hailan hugged Gu Lingqing tightly. Chapter 217. If Zhou Hailan appeared when he didn't know Baiya, maybe he would let her stay and take care of her. However, Baiya appeared in his life. If he let her stay, Baiya would definitely be angry and sad. He couldn't turn a blind eye to it. He cared about Baiya's thoughts. "Hailan, this place isn't suitable for you," Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. "How is it not suitable? When I was locked up, I thought about you every day. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 8 years have passed. I thought that I would spend every minute with you in the future to make up for the 8 years we didn't spend together. You have to go now. I'm leaving." Zhou Hailan began to lose his composure again. "Gu Lingqing." Gu Tianheng shouted his full name with the dignity of a father. He lectured, "Zhou Hailan was burned half of her body to protect you. She was even captured by the enemy. You know how ruthless those enemies are. When she was rescued, there was not a single part of her body that was unharmed. Her mind was also in disorder. She was locked up for treatment. Every skin graft was extremely painful. This is not something that ordinary people can endure." He and Zhou Hailan knew each other first. "You were a couple before. Zhou Hailan did nothing wrong. If you abandon her, you will be heartless." "Who is Baiya?" "She's just a bitch who overestimates herself. She was married before. She seduced you before she got divorced. It shows how low her moral character is. She's a shameless slut. Even if she marries you, she won't be content. I can't afford to lose my face. If you want to be with her, you won't have any political future. Don't be so obsessed that you don't know what you should do." "Ah Qing, do you like someone else?" Zhou Hailan's chest heaved up and down as he asked. "She and I are married." "I'm sorry. I'll get someone to send you back." Gu Lingqing turned around and ordered the orderly, "Get someone to send her back. She'll stay here today." "I will make the decision," Gu Tianheng ordered. Gu Lingqing didn't look back. He strode out, and his cold expression became more resolute. He could take care of Zhou Hailan for the rest of her life and help her recover, but he knew his own heart. It had already begun to shift. All he could think about was Baiya. Her every word, every expression, could tug at his heart and change his mood. He called Lieutenant Colonel Song and asked, "Where did she ask you to send her?" Lieutenant Colonel Song looked at Baiya, who was asleep in the back seat. "Send her to Water Moon International. Send him to Blue Sky Courtyard." "I'll go there now," Gu Lingqing ordered. He hung up the phone without hesitation and called the director. "Where are you now?" "Chief, I've already left. I'm on my way to the military base," the director said respectfully. "You'll pass by the paddock on your way to the military base. Wait for me at the east gate of the paddock. I'll be there in about half an hour," Gu Lingqing ordered. He got in the car and drove at a speed of 180 kilometers per hour. Zhou Hailan looked in the direction where Gu Lingqing left. "Ah Qing, don't you want me anymore?" "Don't worry. I'll make the decision. He can't be with that B***tch, Gu Tianheng said with certainty. Zhou Hailan looked at Gu Tianheng pitifully. You'll live here from now on, Gu Tianheng said seriously. Song Shiyu frowned and looked at Gu Tianheng, then at Zhou Hailan. Zhou Hailan was arranged to rest in Gu Lingqing's room. Will we put too much pressure on Lingqing? Song Shiyu said worriedly. Anyway, he can't marry that B*tch, Baya. She's Xiong Dani's daughter-in-law. She's already a pair of used shoes. Xiong Dani is Su Zheng's sister-in-law. I can't afford to lose face like this. She knew that we kidnapped her, but she still threatened us. How can she be my daughter-in-law? Zhou Hailan is different. She's made contributions and fought for the honor of the country. She's also Lingqing's comrade. Now that she's disfigured, Lingqing still wants to marry her. He can establish his authority and make a big deal out of it. Maybe this time, Lingqing can become the president, Gu Tianheng analyzed. Although I don't like Baya, I also feel that this Zhou Hailan is a little strange. She's not my ideal daughter-in-law. It's a pity for Xiaoling. Actually, I like Xiaoling the most. Song Shiyu sighed. What can we do if your son doesn't like Su Xiaoling? The marriage has been delayed again and again, and he even threatened us with a broken finger. Now, it's the Su family who proposed to cancel the engagement, not the Gu family. Besides, the love between a man and a woman doesn't last long. What we want is long-term benefits. Let's wait and see, Gu Tianheng said in a low voice. Said. Song Shiyu sensed that Gu Tianheng had other plans. She suddenly felt a chill in her heart. The love between a man and a woman doesn't last long. Does that mean between them? Therefore, she and Gu Tianheng had nothing to do with love, but she gave birth to his child and wasted her youth. Song Shiyu lowered her head. I'll stay here to accompany Zhou Hailan. After all, the orderly is a man, so it's not convenient. It's not convenient for you to stay here either. Since Zhou Hailan is going to stay here for a long time, he definitely needs a female orderly. I'll just give the order. You should go back with me. The company still needs you. It's a waste of your talents to take care of someone, Gu Tianheng said sternly. Should I thank you for giving me such a high evaluation? Or should I thank myself for being so capable and having a good background, so that I can become your wife, Gu Tianheng's woman? Song Shiyu mocked herself. The corners of her mouth twitched. Without looking at Gu Tianheng, she walked out of the room. Go. Gu Tianheng frowned. I don't know what's wrong with you. It's not that you don't know. You don't even want to understand why I'm going crazy, Gu Tianheng. People's hearts are mutual, Song Shiyu said dejectedly. I'm talking to you about Lingqing. You're talking to me about people's hearts. Are you going against me? Gu Tianheng said angrily. Song Shiyu couldn't be bothered to argue with him. He was used to being high and mighty. He never gave others any leeway. Even if it was his own fault, in his eyes, it was someone else's fault. He was strong, domineering, and a master. I'll go back first. Song Shiyu lowered her eyes and walked out of the door. Baya woke up. She felt a hand on her waist. She turned around and saw Gu Lingqing sleeping beside her. There was a drop of water on her hand. Her mind was blank for a moment. Why was he sleeping beside her? Why was there a drop of medicine on her hand? This was Gu Lingqing's blue sky courtyard. The moment Baya moved, Gu Lingqing woke up. He looked at the drop of medicine in Baya's hand. There was still half a bottle left. Chapter 218. Why am I here? Baya asked in surprise. She remembered that Lieutenant Colonel Song had sent it to Shueiyue International. Besides, wasn't he with Zhou Hailan? Gu Lingqing saw the doubt in her eyes and explained patiently, I asked Lieutenant Colonel Song to send it here. You still have a fever and are in a coma. I have found a doctor to see you. I have changed the medicine for your chest wound. It hasn't healed yet. You are a doctor. Why don't you care about yourself? The more she said, the more distressed Gu Lingqing was. Baiya was too competitive, so she had to bear everything alone. Even if she couldn't bear it, she didn't say anything. Baiya understood how she came to Blue Sky Courtyard, but she didn't understand. Aren't you in the military? Where are Zhou Hailan and your parents? She asked coldly. Gu Lingqing's eyes darkened. He turned off the alarm clock on his phone and put the phone on the table beside the bed. He sat up and looked at Baiya with burning eyes. I have news for you. Baiya looked at Gu Lingqing suspiciously. What news? She wanted to sit up, but Gu Lingqing was afraid that she would pull the wound that was not easy to heal, so he helped her and put the pillow behind her waist. Thank you. Baiya said politely. There's no need for thanks between us. Gu Lingqing said. Baiya lowered her head and didn't say anything. He didn't like her unpredictable feeling, as if she would disappear at any time. The director of the Civil Affairs Bureau called me and said that our information had been recorded into the computer. Now we can see our registered information on the internet. You and I are legally married. Gu Lingqing said. Baiya looked at Gu Lingqing in disbelief. We are legally married now. How is that possible? I tore the marriage certificate. Now, all the information will be recorded into the computer. It doesn't matter if the marriage certificate is gone, just print another one. Look, it's exactly the same as ours. Gu Lingqing opened the drawer of the bedside table, took out the marriage certificate, and handed it to Baiya. Baiya's hands trembled as she took the marriage certificate and opened it. In the photo, both of them were smiling sweetly. She felt that the two people laughing were not them at all. She clearly tore it up, and Su Jiran also said that as long as she tore up the marriage certificate, there would be no records in the Civil Affairs Bureau. How could this be? Gu Lingqing. Baiya looked at Gu Lingqing expectantly. I disagree. Gu Lingqing rejected Baiya. He knew that she didn't want to get married. Baiya, you can stay where you are. Even if you retreat, I'll chase after you. But don't hide. I'm afraid that I won't be able to find you. Baiya frowned and turned her face away. We're husband and wife. If there's any problem, we'll solve it together, Gu Lingqing said softly. Women are the softest in the world, and also the toughest people in the world. If they loved a man, as long as the man was a little bit good, they would contribute their whole world. As long as the man had the intention to make peace, if there was love, they would forget the scars. A man who didn't love someone, even if the man lost his life for her, would not go to his side. Marriage, Zhou Hailan, illness, had tortured her very much, and she had no strength to fight against fate. When she couldn't make a decision immediately, she would give herself more time. After all, life wouldn't end tomorrow. Time would dilute everything and verify everything. So, when she was troubled, confused, and hesitant, she would let time settle it. Didn't you say that Zhou Hailan had a mental problem last time? If you trust me, I can help her, Baiya said. Gu Lingqing smiled and held Baiya's naked hand tightly. With your help, she'll recover quickly. You didn't agree to it before, Baiya blurted out. Gu Lingqing looked at her deeply. I didn't know that they came to my place. I've already told Zhou Hailan that we're married. Baiya looked down and took a deep breath. She looked at Gu Lingqing. Actually, it's easier to understand a child's emotions. Their expressions aren't complicated, and it's easy to guess their real thoughts. For example, when they pass by an ice cream shop, they'll want ice cream. If they don't give it to them, they'll cry and even hit people. What do you think a parent should do at this time? Baiya asked. Gu Lingqing thought about it seriously. If it's a boy, I won't give it to him. If he cries and throws a tantrum, I'll make him stand upright. If he hits people, I'll teach him a lesson. If it's a girl, I'll pamper her a little more, Gu Lingqing said honestly. The child is still young, so they don't have a big reason to convince the other party to buy ice cream. Crying and throwing a tantrum is their only strategy. They tell their parents that they want it, and they're unhappy. They're using their parents' love. If they buy ice cream because of their crying, then the crying will be worse the next time. Because they know that this method is effective, Baiya said calmly. Gu Lingqing understood what she was trying to say. Baiya smiled. You treated Zhou Hailan the same way. As long as you cry, you'll get what you want. Then, the crying will only be worse the next time. Then what do you think I should do? Gu Lingqing looked at her deeply. Why do you think parents don't buy ice cream for their children? Baiya asked. The sugar content is too high. It's not good for the body if it's cold. Maybe they think it's too expensive, Gu Lingqing guessed. The child is still young. Their outlook on the world, life, and values haven't been formed yet. Parents are guardians who will protect them. They know what's good for the child and what's bad for the child. Gu Lingqing, what do you think is good for Zhou Hailan? Baiya asked to guide her. I want her to find her confidence, live an independent life, and find the person she really needs, Gu Lingqing expressed. Baiya smiled. If the following words were said to an unfamiliar patient's family member, she would say it very easily. However, the patient was Gu Lingqing, and the patient was his ex-girlfriend. If she were to say it as his current girlfriend, it would make people think that she was narrow-minded. So, she didn't say it out loud. If Zhou Hailan doesn't like me, I can recommend someone to you. He's a legend in our school, my senior. He became famous before I did, and he's very powerful. I trust you, Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice. Baiya's eyes became clear. She said what she didn't finish saying. Then, I request that you don't take care of Zhou Hailan personally. Don't give her any hope. Can you do that? Only when you give her despair can she find the person she really needs. She will also become independent and become confident in the pursuit and support of others. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.